Welcome back, everyone, to day number 2 of the PUBG Mobile Club Open for North America. My name is Esquire. Joining me on the casting desk for today's games will be Trid. And what an exciting day number 1 we had.
Absolutely. Groups A and B going at it, but the story of the day had to be that Misfits Gaming dominance. 3 out of 4 map wins, just straight off the bat, 140 points, incredible amounts on the board already. But let's get you up to speed with how the tournament looks so far. We're in the Club Open part of this one, Esquire. There's a couple of stages to this, but let's go back to the beginning. It was the crew challenge. Anyone could have signed up for that one, as long as you were above the rank of Platinum and you could get enough points to secure yourself one of the 32 spots in our group stage.
And then once you find yourselves in those 32 spots, well, you have 2 weeks to rack up as many points as possible before the bottom 8 teams of the total of 32 get dropped out, and well, back to the drawing board they go. The top 24 continue on to the final 2 weeks of this tournament to try to do whatever they can to get into the top 16.
And while we're pocketed in our own regions, North America, of course, being the one we're covering today, at every stage of the tournament, we say goodbye to 8 teams until North America in particular is left with 2 representatives to send to our Spring Global Finals, where they'll compete for the lion's share of $2.5 million and to put their region on the map, because the world is watching and the world is competing.
That's exactly right. And as the world watched yesterday, well, they certainly got a little bit scared as what they're going to be seeing out of Misfits if they're able to make it into those top 2 spots. But with that in mind, yesterday's games, 4 games being played out between groups A and B. Let's look at the standings, how things shaped up for those 16 teams.
Yeah, you see Misfits Gaming, we already spoke about it, 140 points, head and shoulders above the rest, but Nova Esports and Space Station Gaming right behind them on their heels. One thing to know about yesterday, I was having a look through the numbers, Esquire, and it's Group A seemed to be really good at killing people. Group B seemed to be really good at surviving. And so they ended up on the points board because of just how weighted our system is. 30 points for a first place finish and 1 kill apiece. 1 point for every kill you get. So yeah, you may be able to frag out if you're in Group A, but unless you get in Misfits positional finishes, you ain't getting anywhere close up those leaderboards.
No, you certainly aren't. And these groups are going to be pitted against one another, so every group will play another group, and they will all see each other by the time that this tournament is done with. So hey, maybe you had a tough time against Group B if you were Group A, but you'll see how it works out against Group C and D as we continue on. But Trid, we got to talk about the action popping off today. A new set of 16 teams will be competing, Groups C and D.
And a couple of names to look out for in this one. Tempo Storm, we're hearing a lot of hype around those. Method as well coming into this one. But I'm looking at the potential sibling rivalry coming in here from version 2 White and version 2 Black. They found themselves in the same group. So today, and for the rest of this group stage competition, they're going to be going head-to-head, trying to see who's going to come out on top.
Exactly. Maybe not what they wanted as an organization, but hey, these groups were randomly drawn, and that's the way she goes sometimes. But yes, definitely going to be highlighting Tempo Storm today. We're going to be seeing if their performances of the past transition over here to the PUBG Mobile Club Open, because hey, a lot more is on the line than has ever been for a PUBG Mobile tournament.
We got other teams in there, like G6 is in here as well, Hokage, Shoot to Win. These are a couple of teams that maybe aren't as familiar as we are with other organizations, but that's the point of this tournament, right? It was open to begin with, and you had every opportunity to get to the stage so far. So as long as you can have a good performance, not necessarily today, but consistently over the next 2 weeks in our group stage, then you'll be fine for the next stage. Get yourself a spot in the semis and move closer to those global finals. Let's have a look at today's schedule, though. We already know we're seeing Group C versus D, but let's have a look at the maps we're going to be rotating through. We've got Vikendi, we've got Miramar, and we're going to finish off with a double serving of Erangel. It's exactly the same as yesterday.
Yeah, you saw it yesterday. You're going to be very familiar with it here today. Vikendi, the newest map to this PUBG Mobile lineup. We saw some teams perform very well with their strategies yesterday. Will some teams today, though, have those same strategies implemented with a short amount of time to do so? Miramar and Erangel, though, the OGs, they've been around for almost forever, so you would expect that these teams, just like yesterday, have things figured out in terms of what they want to do, what they want to accomplish in the early game.
One thing to know about Miramar as well, this is the only instance where these teams will play on this map. You only get one shot of Miramar in this group stage, and if you mess it up, then that's unfortunate for you. We won't see it again until those semi-finals. But Vikendi, we got 3 rotations of that throughout the group stage. They're going to play it in every one of their showings. But it's Erangel, the double load-in. You get the classic PUBG map right, and you're going to be golden. As long as you can nail that one, your chances of getting into the semi-finals are going to be A-OK.
You might be asking yourself if you have tuned in the past day and now today as well. Well, there might be one map missing out of this rotation. Where is the jungle map of Sanhok? Well, it is certainly not going to be missing for long. That map will kick into rotation here tomorrow on the 3rd day of the tournament. Every team is going to have to compete on that 4x4 jungle map. We've seen teams scrimming over the past couple weeks, preparing for this club open because it's, just like Vikendi, one of the newer maps that's been around a little bit longer, but still it creates its own problems for these teams trying to compete inside.
Being one of those smaller maps, obviously, it's just going to force a lot of action that some teams may not have the luxury of engaging in on these larger maps like Erangel and Miramar. So when we have that instance of Sanhok come into the rotation, could see some exciting plays. And we would talk about how bloodthirsty Group A is. I wonder if C or D want to get up with those numbers as well.
And you would expect them to, sort of, because Groups A and B, you have to think 32 teams in total. The bottom 8 of those total 32 get dropped out. It's going to be a point chase between all these groups. And, well, the pace has almost sort of been set by Groups A and B. They know kind of now what they need to do going into these days over the course of the next 2 to 4 weeks, what they need to accomplish. And maybe they need to be playing a little bit more aggressively than their passive play in the past if they're sort of lining up like that.
And one thing to note as well is, if you can get away with playing aggressively early on these maps as well, you can catch people off guard. We're talking about, especially yesterday, when teams weren't necessarily as familiar with each other as they were. We saw instances of hot dropping. I remember the Shogun's conflict that was perpetually happening with, I believe it was unnamed, in Pachinki when we came on to Erangel. And both times it got split, and we saw Rice in one instance get left behind and then have to kind of solid take his way out of Pachinki to get himself back to safety. But ultimately, unnamed, staking their claim for, and I think they're going to be a team that's going to be expecting to take Pachinki every time they drop onto Erangel.
I think so too, and that's sort of a problem for some of these teams in Group C and D who might like Pachinki as well if they end up crossing those teams from Group A and B. And again, the points were set yesterday, but also drop locations. I mean, that's something to consider as we continue on here, as the different groups end up facing off against one another. Trid, let's give the guys at home, the girls at home, a brief reminder as to how the point system will be working here in the PUBG Mobile Club Open. It's 1 point per kill, but really the bulk of points will be coming out of your placements. Trid, run us down.
30 points in total for that first place finish. And as soon as you leave that first place spot, it starts getting a little bit shaky. You lose 8 points. That's the difference between first and second. You're going to end up with 22 points for getting that second place spot. The more you go down, you're losing about 2 to 3 points on some instances until all the way 16th place gives you absolutely nothing. And we saw a lot of teams yesterday who went in that 16th place also leaving with 0 kills as well. So ultimately, there were some games where teams were walking away with absolutely nothing, but we were having a look at the points table. To get yourself on the board and get yourself into what is effectively the top 16 only because they played games, 20 points.
Yes.
That's all you need. So if you finish first, immediately, you're in the top 16. You don't have to worry about it. You're safe from, shall we call it, relegation or the boot for now, but we still got 2 more weeks of competition, and we're going to have, every team's basically going to play 3 game days, right? So after this, you've got 2 more match days you need to worry about. Keep yourself in that top 24, and you're golden. You move on to the semifinals. You have another shot, and you extend your tournament run by at least another 2 weeks.
Yeah, and there's one thing that we've learned by virtue of the top 32 teams from North America populating these groups is that they're all competitors, Trid. They're not going to be complacent once they get those 20-point games. We are going to see these teams trying and trying and trying to get as many points as possible over the course of these 4 games, over the course of these 2 weeks. Again, to not end up in those bottom 8 positions where, well, you just don't have any more opportunities. You have to become a spectator of the esport, not a player.
And that's the worst thing. If you're a competitor, being a spectator is definitely going to feel pretty bad in the entire instance for it. But we're getting ready to jump into the first games of the day. It's just taking a little bit longer than expected to get the lobby, so don't go anywhere. We're going to try and guide you through it. Let's try and talk a little bit about how these teams are going to be facing off. So, of course, we put them into groups. Now, if you look at the group system, you would naturally assume that we would lose 2 players from each group, right? We're not doing that. So you're not safe in your group. You don't have to be the top 6 in a group of 8. You need to be the top 24 out of the 32. And so all teams are going to end up playing with each other at some point. They only have one match off once, right? So A has already played B. They're not going to play B again. C has played D today. They're not going to play each other again. It's all about rotation. That's why on Sunday, we're then going to see A versus C. So Group C, they've got a busy weekend ahead of them, Esquire. They've got today's matches, and they're going to have to worry about tomorrow's as well. D and B, they get the week off. They can practice and prep for next week's action.
Right, and practice and prep is a big component, at least in the PUBG Mobile scene as an esport. I mean, watching the VODs, doing the research on where your teams, your enemy teams rather, are going to be dropping, and more importantly, what rotation paths they're going to be taking out of those drop locations, so you can either A, avoid those teams, or B, engage on those teams should you figure that you're the stronger opponent.
And it's all about getting the prep. I'm going to reiterate it again because it's so important. Erangel, get that map right, and you could finish in 16th on both Vikendi, Miramar, Sanhok, whatever comes on your rotation. As long as you get Erangel right, you'll probably finish in the top 24, and that's the one that teams have to show up on. And with your team, we're going to talk about them as well. Group A, and currently leading in the points anyways, Misfits Gaming. They nailed pretty much every map, and they didn't finish outside of top 3, I believe, yesterday at all as well. They were able to get 140 points, and the difference between their point score and their kill score, it's only about 22, 24, I believe, off the top of my head. I was having a look through the numbers. Their top fragger, Azor, he came in with 50% of the kill share for that team. 14 kills. He's leading everyone so far. Quickly behind him, though, it's a player from Unnamed. I believe it's Sin on 12 kills. He had a fantastic set of games there, racking them up. So we're starting to see some big fraggers coming into this one. So we have another look at the points table just to remind you. So 140 points total. I'd love to see the breakdown between points as well as the kill points separately as well to see how these are being built up. We can have a nice reminder of who's actually fragging out here and who's just playing for placement.
Yeah, and something you have to keep in mind when you look at Misfits, if you are in Group A or possibly another group playing against the Misfits in Group A, well, Misfits are taking a lot of points off the table, and you have to think about that going forward because, again, this is a point race, and so if Misfits are taking all those points, well, some of the teams at the bottom of that 8-team group are going to have to chase a little bit harder to try to combat against that.
So you can see for the most part, the top 3, Space Station, Nova, Misfits, Nova and Space Station in Group B, they're going to keep fighting off against each other, whereas Misfits appears to just have a free group if you looked at it from that point of view, because mostly these teams are fragging out above 20, even the Unnamed's getting in there as well. But once you get out of the top 4, everyone's kind of dropping on the kill numbers right now, and it's all relying heavily on placement points to dictate, but it's not going to drop. Between 1st and 4th, there's nearly a 100-point difference.
Yes. And that's absolutely staggering, at least for some of these teams, and kind of relaxing for the Misfits. I mean, it almost guarantees that, like you said, Trid, they're not going to exactly play complacent. They have a lot to show, a lot to continue to prove as one of the top orgs so far in this tournament. But again, what are they going to do? Are they going to play a little bit more risky, maybe a little bit more aggressive? They don't have that pressure of having to try to chase those points because, hey, they're setting the bar.
We were saying that they might try and do some experimental stuff, focus on development rather than placement now, because I don't see a way that Misfits Gaming doesn't finish out the top 24, and they can focus on trying out new strategies, preparing for what comes next and future stages of the competition, because everyone's going to be improving. That's just the nature of a competitor and nature of a tournament. It's the rate of improvement that really counts, and if you can get a faster level of acceleration beyond your opponents, doesn't matter how fast they're developing, you'll always stay on top of the game.
Well, and something for Misfits to maybe keep in mind is 2 teams that got that ball rolling, started to get that acceleration through the course of yesterday's games, Nova and Space Station Gaming. We saw them have sort of rough starts in game number 1, but boy did they really pick up the pace as we entered into 2, 3, and 4 of the day yesterday.
We just wanted to have a look at the second half of the standings so far after, because we have, of course, got 8 more teams in there, and teams that didn't really live up to expectations. We're having a look at F6 there, North America. Couple of 16th place finishes and 0 kill games have left them in this situation. Now, one team that caught me off guard in particular was there's a lot of attention coming into Lights Out. They had a very poor showing on day 1, and it shows in the standings now.
Yeah, and also 2 outliers, at least for me, are going to be Cream Esports as well as Air. You can look here. You see their placement points. Sure, they might look good, at least okay for one day of play, but then you switch over to their kill points, and neither of these teams were able to pick up much. 1 kill for Air over 4 games, 2 kills for Cream Esports North America over 4 games, then Silent Killers as well. So there are definitely some teams that maybe need to pick up the aggressiveness as they continue in here, because like we said, 1 kill point can certainly be impactful when it means deciding those bottom 8 teams.
Well, it's literally the difference between Silent Killers and Error right now is, 1 point, 37 points to 36 points. That's the difference maker for them. One thing to note, Cream Esports actually got that top 3 finish, I believe, in one of our maps with 0 kills. They played it stealthily, didn't make much noise, and were able to sneak into a top finish. But we already spoke about the points distribution. Sometimes that is the play, Chief. That is the play.
Popping back over one more time to the schedule for today. First match will be on Vikendi, popping over to the deserts of Miramar for game number 2, and then finishing out the evening with you all here on Erangel for games 3 and 4. Trid, I see that our players are now loading into the lobby right now. It's only a matter of seconds before they get popped up into that plane and soaring across the frozen tundra of Vikendi to try to compete to be the first place winners of game number 1 of day 2.
And yesterday we didn't really see any small centralized flight paths. They were always off to a bit of slightly ajar. Either on Erangel, they were incredibly south, or Miramar, Vikendi, they went over to the western side. This one not really going across the central path, but it's providing you enough time to be able to start spreading out to the outer reaches and really make use of this map before the first circle comes in.
Well, here we are loaded up into the plane, a different model of plane than we saw yesterday, but it is going nonetheless. All of our players in the cargo hold, and it's all up to their decision. Where are those primary loot locations going to be? Are they going to be in conflict, or are they going to have those areas all to their lonesomes?
Want to get themselves spreading out. Here's Knockhead from Envious, and looking to find some territory for him to drop into. As we have a look at the spread coming in now, it's got ourselves Micro TT and the rest of his team just dropping down nice and shy. It's the same with Latinos Unidos as well, as they're just going to drop very early and take control and start that loot path immediately.
Exactly. Plane path, as you can see, favored towards the way northern side of Vikendi. From east to west we go, but a lot of the southern part of this map will be cut off. If you end up wanting to go down to the Winery, Abbey, Dino Park, Volnova, or any other area, maybe even Milner, all the way down to the south, well, you're going to have to find some vehicles. But keep in mind, as opposed to the 8x8 kilometer maps of Miramar and Erangel, this is a 4x4, much smaller play area for these 16 teams to compete.
I actually think Envy is hot dropped on top of Shoot to Win as now. They're sharing territory if you look to the eastern side of the map and just looting away in that town. This could be that uncertainty we spoke about, and now that first circle's come in, a little bit of jar to the southwest, so it does cut off a couple of teams on the outer rim to the northeast, but they're going to have to start making their way in eventually. Yeah,
rotations aren't going to be extremely deadly for these teams. I'm maybe looking at the two squads just clustered up there in the far northeast. How are they going to be able to disengage off of one another? One of those teams up there, Latinos Unidos, we'll have to certainly think about that. But Trib, when we also look at this circle, a lot of water going to be in play, not a lot of play area, at least given what these players are used to in phase number 1 to work off of. So keep that in mind. Third-party engagements might be a little bit more prevalent here in phase number 1 and 2.
And Hull and Home Alone and Tempo Storm, they're just sharing territory right now. I believe they're aware of each other's presence, but I don't think anyone's in a position or feels confident enough to want to take the fight, so they're both having a little bit of a gentleman's agreement. Okay, you stay out of our way, we'll stay out of yours for now, and then if we have to fight later, we'll just have to throw fisticuffs, right?
And that's sort of, I guess, how most of these teams have been handling these contested drops in the first game of this map. Again, Vikendi not going to be repeated throughout the course of today, so you only have one opportunity to play out your strategy here, but it looks like Home Alone going to be pushing a little bit closer towards Tempo. They're aware of each other's presence. They saw the parachutes go down there, but they need to be careful. Home Alone, I like what they're doing, though. They're staying as a clustered 4-man squad. They're not spreading out like the likes of Tempo. Yeah,
Tempo being a little bit more brave here. You've got Nico and Lost down here on the bottom side of the location, but then you've also got the two members of the squad going up. They're taking shots already. So Plan B spotted out Kraken, taking a few shots. Walking behind there. P-Win going down very low. He must have taken some action from the other members of the other split of Tempo.
So this is where it becomes incredibly important for Home Alone to be careful about their surroundings. They have their eye at least on one target from this Tempo squad, Kraken. But do they know where the other players for Tempo lie? If they focus too heavily on this eastern position, will they open up the flank possibilities around the west?
Well, Tempo has great crossfire options here because they've just got so many different angles to approach from. They're surrounding this team. Home Alone, they're going to be really panicking in a moment if they don't, because they're not going to have any control. How do you protect from all these angles at the same time? You're just hoping to win on sheer power. We have Latinos Unidas getting the first knock of the game on the other side of the map, and Insane. He's down for Home Alone. It's taken out by Tempo Storm, and they're on the retreat right now. They have to play it safe in that smoke, get the recovery and the healing in. And meanwhile, Tempo Storm, they're still splitting. They've pulled themselves back together, going for that 2-2 split, but they're still keeping the crossfire alive.
And this is one of the things that you start to contemplate with both of these teams involved. They've now diverted off of looting. They're focused on one another, and we lose a lot of time. You lose a lot of utility in trying to do that. We saw that one of the players from Home Alone Insane only had bandages to his name, a few boosts as well, but no first aids whatsoever. Level 1 helmet, broken level 1 vest. It just goes to show how early on in this loot phase they ended up clashing.
And now they're trying to get as much loot as they can. You can see the priority moving around as Nico crouching down. He knows P-Win is nearby. He can hear the steps. He's waiting for it. He's going to stay alive, but they're approaching. Now they've given away the information themselves. They know where each other is. Not necessarily exactly as Nico's going to go for that corner peek. We are playing in third person. Shots are already fired. There's P-Win going down. That's the first kill of the game. As Tempo just surgically going to finish it off. They're looking for more. Home Alone aren't going to commit to this fight. They've lost one member. They need to get out of this location.
Yeah, good engagement right there by Tempo Storm. Nico was able to get the spray through the window, which got the members of Home Alone a little bit concerned. Maybe it caught a little bit off guard, a little bit chaotic of a scenario for them to work off of, and it was a nice tandem effort between those two players of Tempo. But now a 4v3 scenario. Will Home Alone try to disengage off of this and make that rotation inside of the safe zone like we're already starting to see some of their players do, or will they get stuck? Well, it looks like one player, Plan B of Home Alone, is certainly stuck, and he is going to have a hard time trying to figure out how do I maneuver these Tempo Storm players.
He's going to have to try and find plan C, D, E, F, maybe even G on this one, because right now I don't think he's got a plan to his name, ironically enough, as he's going to be caught up in here. He's not moving, so he's not giving away the information, the audio information that would relay exactly where he is, but I think Tempo are aware there's another player straggling around, but they're sticking as this four-man unit, and now they've entered his building. It's all going to go wrong for him as he runs up. They know they're in hot pursuit, firing the shots at the stairs, but they're chasing his after image as he jumps out the window, trying to escape, running across the rooftops. They're just following him. They're going to hunt this guy down and take out the lone member of the pack as Plan B. Taken down from behind, wants to go for the 180, opens it up on the Tempo Storm. Will get a knock, but there's too many members. And now Tempo taking their second kill of the game and moving this squad down to 2 members.
Yeah, Home Alone's going to have a world of hurt coming for them as they progress through game number 1. The strategy is going to have to take a major shift on how they're going to play this. A lot of passive play to see from Home Alone coming out of this. I mean, Plan B, he didn't even have a vest, didn't even have a helmet. He really had to try to avoid Tempo Storm at all costs. One nicely placed shot to the head, he's done. A few nicely placed shots to the chest, and he's out as well. And, well, that's what ended up happening. Insane and Bunny are left a champion for their squad.
They're doing okay. They got themselves into the circle, so they will survive another phase, assuming that they don't run into another team. And we saw some clustered teams in the Northeast region who have now separated out. They've disengaged from each other. But now I'm looking towards the southwest side of the map. We may have a team in vehicles looking to crash onto Tanker and the rest of his team on Revenants. If they're not careful, may get caught out here because you've also got Method coming in, Steamy and Everfury leading the charge. But Envious, they're getting themselves a vehicle, and they're going to start getting on the move.
Yeah, Podvosto, their drop location here in game number 1. Envy all 4 stacked inside of that vehicle trade. We talked about it yesterday. Not the ideal scenario for these rotations. Hopefully they're going to be able to find a Dacia or another vehicle on the map to diversify their risk a little bit. Well, it's all about diversification of your risk here in PUBG, especially on rotations, the deadliest part of this game.
He's going to be taking a little cruise for now on the open top. I mean, you probably want the heater on if you're in Vikendi. I mean, it's a little bit cold out there. You can't be sitting there with the open top. This isn't a summary map like Sanhok, as they're just going to pull over, potentially raid these buildings, and get some more resources to commit to the later game instances.
Sure, that US doesn't have a top. They have no heater. They're going to be bundled up trying to hug each other for warmth. Essentially, I think that's all you're left to do, really, on Vikendi. None of these houses strike me as very homely.
There's no windows.
Yeah, exactly.
None of them are insulated. All the hot air is just going to leave out. I bet the heating bill's an absolute nightmare if you try and stay warm. We're on board with another team. We've got Bad Player and the rest of the Ignite Gold just sitting in this compound for now. They are extremely close to the Revenants, and a drop is about to land in between the two. You see it off to the left-hand side of your screen. That might force some errors from either one of these two teams that are trying to look stalematey.
Yeah, and we really didn't see too much contention for these drops yesterday. They might change here today, but towards the late game when we saw those drops, well, they not only provide you with those strong weapons, even some armor to boot, but they also create maybe some cover that didn't exist on that landscape of those final battles on the map. We'll have to see how that goes on here in game number 1, but certainly Espinoza and crew going to be heading down, trying to reunite with their teammates. One other person inside of that Dacia, it's going to be Tanker, and this is what you like to see, not a 4-stack in the vehicle.
just keeping themselves nice and separated as they rotate round to the bottom half of the map, especially the southwest. And Niln is bang in the middle of that circle. And we've got a couple of teams. We've even got G6 just converging on top here, just south of the Abbey. So conflict could start coming in, promoted by this next circle.
And phase number 2 has popped about 1 minute and 10 seconds until the blue zone starts to encroach on the safe zone of phase number 2. So these teams have at least a little bit of time to start to worry about how they're going to make those rotations from the far northern part of Vikendi to get down to the south. This circle, it's not going to be friendly. It is, it's a little bit smaller. A lot of water still going to be in play, and that's something that we've seen on these Vikendi maps. So hopefully these players are used to that from going through scrims. They can at least adjust on the fly if they need to. But enemy 4-stack going to be at least running through the Abbey, trying to get some loot here in the early to mid game, but not much action popping off with them.
Looking at the migration paths of the rest of these teams, they're all coming in from the southeast, but a lot of them are staying to the left of the Volnova divide and coming down directly from the north, and they're going to start collapsing onto each other if they're not careful. There's only so much territory or prime real estate in this next circle that you can occupy. It's sure to kick off some earlier engagements after the initial few knocks that we saw. Yeah,
these teams are really starting to feel the hurt, especially given that far northern plane path that they were working off of at the onset of this game. Well, the circle, it's all the way down on the opposite side of the map, and when that happens, you start to see a lot of action, a lot of chaotic transitions from those teams that are a little bit far off. As we see on the map, though, one of our teams, version 2 Black, opting to take some aquatic vehicles around that far western edge, and well, hey, you can't fault them for that. It's not going to be the most dangerous rotation path for them, because look at how clustered that whole part of the landmass is inside of phase number 2.
Going out as far as they can. They're really playing to the edge of the blue here to obviously avoid taking fire from the land, and if fire does come their way, so far we're probably going to say the accuracy isn't enough to nail them unless you've been lucky enough to get yourself a high-performance rifle. So they're just going to get themselves into the area. It wouldn't actually surprise me if version 2 Black, what am I saying? We're just going to play edge of circle out in the water and only come in when they need to.
I mean, I think that's the smart play as well, as long as you can stay, I mean, they're not going to be undetected. They are going to be a visible target out there in the water, but as you said, pretty far off from any accurate type of shots being able to land. Will they wait out there, kind of soak up the information because, hey, those other players not in the driver's seat, they can scope in on the terrain on the coastal region and see what might be a safe entryway for them as we progress.
But it's not only that as well. We spoke about the importance of placement over kills. If you're going to let this firefight take place, as everyone's getting really condensed back on the island, and we've already seen My Dog go down to his own hubris. He fell off a building or from some height to get himself knocked down onto the ground.
I'm going to guess it's a vehicle, Trid.
You're going to guess it's a vehicle?
It's usually those darn pesky vehicles in this PUBG game.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of vehicles moving around. They're incredibly mobile. As going to see G6 start getting themselves into cover. I want to pull up the map quickly, focus on the southwest corner. Look how many names and look how many people are alive. 61 out of 64 players alive right now. And it's all going to get so condensed and packed in. Someone has to give, or something has to give.
Yeah, it's essentially a pressure cooker right now inside of this lobby. It continues to build and build as the play area constricts and more teams find themselves jam-packed together. This is where you're starting to hear the shots in the background. Teams starting to posture in those defensive positions to get out the pressure shots, keeping that buffer zone strong between them and their opponents.
Sprat and the rest of version 2 Black staying out there. Actually, they've gone for a split. They sent Chico onto the land. There's Reckless, the rest of Envious taking shots. Not going to find their markers. Latino Udados will get themselves away, but not without a little bit of a rattling from Envious.
Yeah, the fear of God certainly being placed into Latinos Unidos as they continue on that rotation, escaping with their lives, but also escaping with the information that another team will be pushing along the same rotation path, most likely as phase number 3 has popped 30 seconds until the blue zone will start to constrict on that play area. But Trid, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and these teams are going to be jam-packed tighter and tighter.
For Hokage already taking a couple of casualties there as they're just being knocked down, even blown away. Still have 16 teams in it, so a couple of members still alive for them, but they've just been put on their last legs. There's a couple of down members. Will make sure it's hard for them to come back into this one.
Yeah, version 2 White, the sister team of version 2 Black, picking up those kills at the onset of this match. The first few kills of the game actually coming out for that squad. But around the map, as we can see, those rotations are happening on the northwestern side. Dino Park, version 2 White, they've got to make that trek down. If they play edge Trid, they might be safe. But as you get closer and closer to those centralized areas of phase number 3, well, you might find yourself going out pretty early if you're making a rotation in a vehicle.
I think Sprat for version 2 Black is the insurance policy here. He's still out in that water by himself, but I think the rest of version 2 Black are actually on land trying to compete and potentially rack up some kill points in these future engagements that are surely going to be happening soon.
Yeah, version 2 Black with those 200 IQ boat plays have now made landfall around the far eastern side of the island of Vikendi. Tempo Storm, though, posturing over here on the coastal region on the south side of where phase number 3 is currently. It looks like they might have an idea that G6 is just off to the west of their position as Kraken, utilizing that third-person perspective rather, to get that look over that wall.
They got themselves a nice position in Milnar. Just going to keep on this southern coast. Just keeping a lookout. That's all he has to do for now. He doesn't have to show himself. He's got reinforcements around him. This entire area seems to be locked down by Tempo Storm. They just want to keep out any intruders that may want to come in and contest them. Insane and Home Alone are actually breaching into the point right now as they're coming in fast in a vehicle just to get into the circle to stay alive. And they've been very quiet since their early casualties right at the beginning of this game.
Very significant. 16 teams still alive as we approach that 15-minute mark here of this Vikendi match. And, Will, it's not going to be easy for any of these teams. The play area is absolutely littered with enemy opponents wherever you may look. And it's going to come down to these teams making fast decisions, split-second decisions, and how they can sort of react off of that. If it's going to be chaotic for them, are their comms clear? It's going to be a test of that team synergy.
This seems so much more passive than what we saw yesterday,
really
Esquire.
does.
Like you said, 16 teams alive in a circle this late. It's all going to pop off, and this is where it's going to start to go wrong for so many of them because, as you know in PUBG, only one team can stand head and shoulders above the rest. As you can see, the Fi from Ignite Gold taking a little bit of damage as he's moving towards the coastline and playing around the terrain to try and get out of the LOS of G6.
But here's the thing, Ignite Gold as well as G6 and Tempo Storm have to rotate. They're not going to be safe inside of the zone, and the shots come out. That is going to be Marvis, dropped down almost immediately by, I believe that's VN1, able to find the shots. Nicely placed spray.
Going to take cover. It's the only option for him then as Chaos returns fire and starts taking out members of G6. In fact, the Lushy just going to be removed altogether as VN1 sits on his high ground, fires it out. Gucci has also found version 2 Black now as Chico's going to be removed. Get that kill confirmed, but they're returning fire as Chaos gets dropped himself. G6 playing around this vehicle, using it for cover, but he has to get out of here. Jakob needs to leave.
Yeah, they all need to leave, and that's the important thing to take away from this engagement right now. Well, they're going to be doing just that, but as they rotate over to the east, they're going to be slamming into the compound that Tempo Storm had been holding. They made a brief rotation inside of this next play zone, but they heard the commotion popping off. They're going to be expecting these teams to rotate on that exact path, and well, if they keep going this direction, they are going to find some very unwelcoming visitors.
You do not want to be crashing into Tempo Storm. They're just sitting here, just gathering all the information, not showing themselves. They want to keep this a one-way street of communication. It is until Yaman and the rest of G6 just going to take over this three-story building. Tempo have got the high ground over them, but they're not going to be able to get the cleanest line of sight to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's like a 5-meter elevation high ground, right? It's not the absolute, it's not the prime high ground that you're looking for in those types of engagements, but still close enough, too close for comfort. I think Tempo Storm, you might see them put out some shots to try to push back the members of G6 from where they are currently posturing. But the blue zone, it is shrinking in. Trid phase number 5 going to be popping off here in a matter of about 30 to 45 seconds. And, Will, you always have to be quick on your feet. Where are you going to be making these rotations? Because it's not getting any easier. All 16 teams still alive as we approach that 20-minute mark. And, well, this is definitely not something that we saw yesterday.
They are not without casualty, though. That's the thing to remember here. Envious have already lost 2. Micro TT going to go down there, getting himself knocked as Team Anarchy starting to take the casualties here. As Micro TT going to have that kill confirmed. And they still got members alive. It's just 9 remaining for Team Anarchy. So he's going to be a solo operator, I believe, for the rest of this match.
Looks like version 2 Black was able to pick off a crate off on the far eastern side of the circle as the blue zone continues to approach that safe part of phase number 4. Well, G6, Hamon is going to be hiding out inside of this building. They're going to be safe and secure inside of this zone. But again, look at their positioning relative to Tempo Storm. Tempo, all guns are trained down at that compound. Should one of the heads of G6 expose themselves, Will, I would expect a nice one-tap dirt nap.
Get themselves having a little dirt nap. I like that expression, Esquire. Well done.
Thank you.
He gets that nice little shot down. It's going to trigger them to go for the rush and just know they got the man advantage. G6 playing without a Lushy. He did go down in that engagement against Ignite Gold earlier, so that's going to come back to bite them. in these later engagements, but we've seen stranger things, especially we've seen multi-man engagements coming in from solo operators in the late game yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of it coming into today, considering how sneaky some of the solo operators are being right now.
Right, I mean, and we have a lot of solo players currently by virtue of how many players have been eliminated and how many teams have not dropped out just yet. Phase number 5, though, in full effect. The play zone will shrink in about 50 seconds, and these teams have been hard shifted over to the far eastern side of our previous play zone. This is going to be Method. Everfury realizing this. They've got multiple vehicles. They're going to be good, and the significant part about this is Method is now in a position, if they have to, based off the terrain they're working off of, a lot of open area just towards the north, they can set up a car for it if need be.
More like a car dealership with the amount they've got here. They're going to be able to sell some off, and taking fire straight away is Method. They're just going to be crashed on as they're just going straight through, taking the vehicles, want to get into the circle as soon as possible. I believe that was Shoot to Win that just drove past them, but Ulysses has already gone down here. They've been caught off guard. They're trying to return fire against Ignite Gold. They're just taking casualties across the quarters. Version 2 White also dropping down as well. Look at this. Version 2 White in the house with Shoot to Win. They got one number knocked. Waz has to go down here. There's no way Shoot to Win do not get that kill. And they're going to be confirmed by Chacho. And they're going to hold off as they move into this compound and try and contest against them.
Yeah, a super aggressive push from Shoot to Win, though a product of that crash was by virtue of the shots coming out from Method. But now they found themselves amongst Version 2 White. Sure, trades going back and forth between these two teams, but they are so close to one another that grenades will start flying eventually as Version 2 White tries to recover off of this. Shoot to Win has already recovered, and they're going to be going on the offensive. So many teams trying to rotate past this building, drawing their attention away from one another, but they always have to be remembering there are enemies present through the windows, going to be spotting them out, getting the knock with Rafa, trying to return fire, able to get a significant amount of damage onto one of the players of Version 2 White, but it's not enough to secure the knock.
And they're just so close to each other. You cannot show your shoulder, Rafa. You might be taken down there. Has to pop the smoke, get him up. We're losing members everywhere across the map as well. Nice flank coming in. Spec going down. Need to try and stay up here. Tempo trying to rotate around here to save two of their members. It's Spec and Nico are down. It's just on Lost and Kraken to keep it up. We're sitting on his POV, trying to find the best angle to protect his teammate and then look for the res potentially. Nico has gone down. There's nothing they could do about it, but they can still save Spec, and they're throwing in the molly just to zone off any potential aggressors coming out here from Latinos Unidos.
We are seeing so many crashes of compounds right now because, hey, there aren't a lot of compounds inside of this very small phase number 5, and by virtue of all of these teams rotating from that far hard shift, well, they're going full speed. They're full sending it, trying to get to these compounds that have been occupied for the better part of the half of the game. As we enter into this, though, mid to late game scenario, the action is popping off. We've already seen one team drop out now, finally past that 20-minute mark, longer than we've seen any 16-team lobby, at least in this tournament so far, stay alive.
We have lost our first squad, though, so we've got 15 teams in there. A couple of key team kills coming across. Insane. Being another casualty here, I believe that is Home Alone finally being eliminated, as Bunny will go down to the play zone. So they're going to finish off in 15th place effectively. There's the 14 teams remaining. Look how close Latinos Unidos is to Tempo. They haven't got control of the house. They're just playing around terrain right now. But Revo could end up spotting out Kraken and Lost if they make the wrong move here, because you just need to be conscious of VN1, who are also looking at these sight lines. Clay going to be dropped for Method.
Well, and G6 trying to push out of that barn as well as Latinos Unidos. Revo inside of this building. He's essentially just trying to hold, trying to bide his time because the action is popping off around him. He's trying to be so careful not to expose anything through these wide open windows, just trying to look around and get a gauge on the audio directions from where these action is popping off.
Needs to be careful, though, because like we said, he's got Tempo and he's got VN1 sandwiching him in here. They're looking for a vehicle. Kraken just going to steal one away. Whether that was his or not remains to be seen, but it's his now. He's going to try and get his teammate in the vehicle and find himself some highly mobile positioning to get out of this engagement, as G6 actually crashed into VN1, and they're going to pay the iron price as Jamon's dropped and sent to an early grave. And now VN1 going to get in these vehicles, get themselves out. Lost, been dropped out by VN1 as well, but they return fire and make sure that, actually, hang on a minute, there's no one going down. VN1 losing out on Ran. Is he going to get dropped down? Revo needs to be pushed further in here because he's pushing against the blue. There's Clay finally going to get down again after getting rezzed. And he's in this same house, so close to VN1 yet again. They're going to come in and go for the spray. Revo immediately knocked out by the burst coming out by Key. and he's just immediately taken out as the numbers are just dwindling now. We're down to 9 squads, Esquire.
Exactly. We saw Tempo Storm drop out trying to make that rotation. We thought they were going to be able to get away easy, but no, not so easy after all, as Enemy trying to reset off of this. He's got to get his teammate up, but he's not going to be able to do so just yet. Not a lot of defilade to protect him from any shots coming from the south, but now they've got the smoke concealment up. They're going to be able to work off of this, and will the res will be had on the King G as Senso, Gucci, and Proton try to devise a strategy for entering into the northeastern side of this circle.
There's not much cover being given there at all where they need to head into. It's just an open field. The teams are hopefully going to be too preoccupied with fighting each other. You got Shoot to Win in there, but it's VN1. Key again, finding Steamy on Method. They still got that 4-man squad, but they're going to need to get the res off. They've only got 1 kill to their name this entire game, but they've been in so many firefights this entire map. They need to start converting those into kills and get some points on the board. We
still do have a few teams with all 4 alive. As version 2 Black going to be spotted out. It's going to be enemy Senso spraying him down, but he does get connected on in return as version 2 Black ends up finding the knock. But now another team, Vigilante, going to be spraying down onto the members of VN1. Able to find some shots, but mostly just pressure being applied.
Proton going to get knocked as well as Gucci. You see the Revenants just taking position around the pillar with those vehicles as well, as Proton will finally have his kill confirmed, as King is also going to go down. Pride for the side of Method dropping down. Ran and Bucky, they might be going out here as well. That's a full squad wipe. Enemy no longer going to be able to stay in this round. And now Shoot to Win looking for more kills. They're taking on version 2 Black. Ran going to be finally killed off as Revenant just going to get down by the vehicle that was blown off by Tanker. And now they're just holding off here. Clay behind the rock and caught in between the smoke. These 3 houses being occupied is just going to be so big as we move into the final moments of this game.
Method, well, they had that caravan cover. All of those vehicles playing a large factor in that engagement. But unfortunately for Method, they are outside of the play zone, far down to the south on the blue edge. And well, the blue's going to start encroaching on their backs at about 10 seconds. So they've got to move. Hopefully, they've got some smokes prepped. You can already see them start to come out on that far southwestern side of the circle as Method starts to slowly advance towards this compound where 3 teams are already inhabiting. But here it comes Clay. Method pushing up very, very quietly, going to be popping from smoke to smoke. It's a matter of time before he ends up spotting one of the members of Revenant.
He spotted him straight away, going to spray through the smoke, and they've got no cover. They have to hide from nearly every angle. But Clay, the fire comes back from him. Espinoza from Revenant's getting the knock. Going to stay in the smoke and in the cover for now, but Steamy's hands being forced. He has to move in here with Everfury leading the charge from Method to try and find a path into safety. His Vigilante will take down Bad Player on the side of version 2 White. Steamy, no! Going to get knocked down by Espinoza as he tries to cross the no man's land. Vigilante spraying it onto Are You Scared? He finds Psy in the chaos as they lock this building down for themselves.
Revenant with a nice push into this compound. You didn't think it was going to be possible. Are You Scared? Going to be losing some members right now. Revenant taking full control of one of the final circles here in game number 1. They're not going to be giving up anything in the process as Clay going to be flushed out of the game, but here it is. Shoot to Win is now returning. They have heard the aggressors coming into this compound, and well, they're not going to be giving anything easy.
You say Revenants have got control of the compound. They got some uninvited visitors upstairs. They can't push this one, because if they do, you got eyes on stairs immediately. Espinoza feeling the wrath of Shoot to Win. Ulysses being the one to get that knock as Maluma's up on the high ground, and that's the one remaining member along with the side of his teammate. And like you said, where can they go? They can't go downstairs. They're going to run straight into Revenants. Then it's Shoot to Win, who are occupying a house all by themselves. Method, Everfury, keeping alive for them, playing for the placement points, and maybe wants to come in and catch these teams off guard in the final moments.
A 3v2, v2, v1. Method just trying to stay alive right now. The real action going to be popping off inside of this version, inside of this version 2 White and Revenant compound building rather, but you're going to have to wonder, will Shoot to Win try to play that third-party factor? Because once the action pops off inside of that building, a lot is going to be chaotic in here, and well, teams might have that opportunity to pick up some of those much-needed kills. But phase number 8 is in full effect. This is the landscape of what will be the final phase. Phase number 9 coming up next, and so teams are now very much aware as to what positioning they have to play off.
Ulysses and Raph are just holding down that building. You've got Revenants on that ground floor. They're pushing up the stairs right now to try and take the territory. They're immediately going to clear out version 2 White. Maluma has no answer to that, as Tanker going to be one to secure the kills for his team and secure a greater finish for the rest of Revenants.
That's exactly what Revenant needed to do. I didn't want to see them wait passively rather on the first floor of that. They had to aggressively push up as a full stack of 3 to not lose out on that trade. You trade out, sure, but you have your 2 other members alive pushing up the stairs to clear out those members above you. And just like that, they are going to be out. 3 teams remaining, 7 7 players alive, but Tanker's going to be bleeding out right now. They've got to get the res off before Shoot to Win starts to play the aggressive factor in these final moments of game number 1. Everfury for Method, though, he's just hanging out. He's waiting to hopefully try to secure that second place position.
Maybe even find himself the first. If this engagement goes south between Revenants and Shoot to Win, it's going to be forced very quickly. Wants to stay alive as long as possible to capitalize.
Don't think he has been spotted out. These teams are going to be fully focused on one another. A 3v3 engagement with that solo player possibly going to be playing the spoiler for Method. Method 1 kill to their name, at least so far here for that player. Ulysses, though, 3. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for a first game performance. We didn't see a lot of standouts in game number 1, at least yesterday, but I think we're starting to see a little things start to change here.
I love the position that Shoot to Win are taking here. They were able to pivot around the central point where Ulysses has taken for himself, play around the smoke, and now they've got alternate angles here to deal with Revenants even when they have to emerge from this house. They're not accounting for Everfury, but like we've already spotted, I don't think they know exactly where he is, just that he's in the area.
Right, and as we saw the last few minutes, Revenant and Method both pushed in at the same time from the same angles, just a few meters separated from one another. So yeah, I mean, do they even know, Shoot to Win rather, do they know that there's another enemy presence, or do they think that this might be a 3v4 scenario? Exactly.
Yeah, they could be dealing with a 3v4, not accounting for the literal third party that's coming in here with Everfury. We've got a couple more seconds on this. They're trying to find a way to approach this one as Tanker is moving around. He's giving away that audio information to Shoot to Win. Like I said, they got good angles covering this house, and Ulysses just pivoting around, trying to get as much information as possible. I think he knows Everfury is in there. It's the only logical place he could be, knowing that they got a teammate on the other side of the house feeding information from that angle as well.
We did not see a game yesterday go all the way to the completion, the final collapse of phase number 9, and what we might see it here by virtue of these compounds providing the cover for these teams to work off of to not eliminate each other. But here comes the movement, the blue zone on.
They're going to catch him off guard. He's taking painkillers, but the Uzi Eye spray down there. Ulysses has been knocked, but luckily you got the angle coming in there from Psycho to secure it. They need to get Ulysses up fast, though. Revenants, they are in the high ground. They have control of the building. They may have to emerge from this one. They have a man advantage for now.
They might be able to pop out of the window. That might be the best bet for them if they're able to get Shoot to Win distracted, because the stairwell, the blue zone damage is going to be doing too significant of damage to them at this stage in the game. It is chunk damage, the death zone essentially, as we call it here in the PUBG Mobile scene. You have to be wary of it, and it looks like the members of Revenant are going to be retreating back into this corner. It might become a battle of meds.
They're trying to keep an eye, use the third person to spot Psycho. They're taking a few shots. Now they're going to have to go through the blue to get out. They're just being pincered in the circle, taking all the damages. They're just going to emerge straight into a firefight. I want to see what Shoot to Win are doing. They've got to have eyes on this window. They have to know they're going out. And he goes straight into a killing field as Peralta, the first one to be knocked. Keeping an eye on that alternative angle. Peralta's kill has now been confirmed. Ulysses 24 watching the window, but it doesn't matter. Psycho's now found Tanker, and they're just going to die to the blue. They were trapped. There was no option for them to move. First map win of the day going over to Shoot to Win.
Shoot to Win with 6 kills. That's going to be 36 points picked up for that squad, taking away the first win of the day, the first win on Vikendi for Group C and D. But Revenant coming up with a pretty big second place as well. That's going to be 13 kills for them on top of that point total of 22 points. So at the end of the day, we're finishing off 1 point below Shoot to Win. All things considered, not too bad. Method as well. Got to give it up to Clay, the solo player champion for that squad.
Everfury, of course, coming in there, just keeping alive as long as possible. He popped painkillers at the wrong time. You saw the intent, wanted to go in there and make sure that he had everything in his best possible situation to take on an engagement, and just at the right time, Shoot to Win. They had all angles covered. There was nothing he could do. Yeah, sure, Everfury got a knock, but then you just had the angle being covered by Psycho. He was able to deal with that afterwards. Great performance from all the teams at the moment. I don't see any survivalists in there with 0 kills, which is what I like to see in your top scorecard. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you Miramar.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2019 North American PUBG Mobile Club Open. My name is Esquire, joined here by Trid. What an exciting game number 1 of day 2 we just had.
Yeah, especially towards the end, it was starting off very passive. We had 16 teams alive. When we started getting into Phase 4, even Phase 5, we still had a high number of teams in there, and it all came down to this solo compound engagement. A 3-man squad going up against a 3-man, and you had Method, Ever Fury there trying to sneak in a victory, but easily sought out by Shoot to Win, who then went away and finished off the entire map, picking up the first map win of the day.
We as spectators of this esport love to see those chaotic type situations where the true test of these teams' skill and strategy really comes into effect. But make no mistake, the teams that were caught in those engagements, well, they certainly were not enjoying it whatsoever. It was a very sort of stressful moment for those teams all around, especially for the team of Revenant, who was kind of stuck up there on the second floor. An aggressive push that got them the second floor, however, possibly waited a little bit too long to make that exit.
And, you know, that was actually ultimately the downfall of the second place team, was that territory. They took it up, they took control of it, and suddenly they were caught in a situation where they were just completely surrounded by Shoot to Win. The blue zone pressing in, their only escape avenue was this window, and Shoot to Win knew that exactly. They had all guns trained on that tight little exit, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get themselves out there safely. They just went straight into the firing line, and it was so easy for Shoot to Win to pick up. A couple of teams maybe slightly disappointed with on that first showing, at least on Vikendi, and we'll cut some slack. It's an unfamiliar map, but Tempo Storm not having the best of showing. High hopes for these teams as well. Method, solid organization. Yeah, you had Ever Fury force out a third place finish, but beyond that, they weren't racking up that many kills. They weren't getting in those engagements, and I'm not going to say earn, because Ever Fury did earn that placement, but I kind of want to see more members survive into those later stages so that they have a chance of contesting that first place.
Well, one team yesterday that we saw a solo player sort of champion for their team, and then the next game they came up really strong as a 4-man squad, was Nova. So it has been done before. We've seen it yesterday. Maybe Method can maybe take a page out of the book of Nova here in game number 2, 3, and 4 coming up next. But yeah, I mean, it's been exciting. We are switching territories a little bit. We're popping over to the deserts of Miramar, where new challenges sort of present themselves for these teams.
Yeah, the other side of the thermometer is going to create a much larger environment for the players. Vikendi, not the smallest of maps, but it is there quite condensed in comparison to the first 2 ones that were released. So Miramar will pose some challenges, and mobility, absolutely key on this desert map. You need to be traversing it successfully if you want to get into these circles, because of that distance of an 8x8 map. It's difficult, and we see territories taken. I think yesterday we had a very far western drop from multiple teams, and they played around that canyon wall, and that's very starved for loot, and it's going to force some early rotations out if they're not finding everything that they need early on. Yeah,
when you talk about these 8-kilometer by 8-kilometer maps, Miramar and Erangel, when you land in those polarized positions all the way to the far northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast, well, you sort of put yourself at a disadvantage unless you're lucky enough to see phase number 1 pop in your direction. If not, especially on Miramar, notoriously the most difficult map to rotate on by virtue of all of the hills and I guess a lot less roads than on any other map, right? You see those cars stall out and you see them just absolutely get decimated. So hopefully these teams have prepared those rotation paths. Hopefully they know exactly which ways to go and they don't see any resistance on their transitions.
So we saw it yesterday as well. I remember the circle shrinking down on Los Leones, and it was a tale there of Misfits and Space Station Gaming, both having advantageous position. Misfits had some magic yesterday, and they were able to get themselves a secure position. Space Station Gaming on the high ground, ultimately Misfits winning that one out. We got the players in the plane, ready to kickstart. Map number 2 of the day. We're heading over to Miramar, and it's looking like the most central flight path we've had so far.
Yeah, and even then, it's still pretty favored over towards the eastern side, but all things considered, it's not going to be the worst for these teams to look at. All areas, essentially, of the map will be accessible or slightly accessible with the help of a vehicle as well. But yes, like you said, all players in the cargo hold dropping out right now to find those primary loot locations. And when we're already starting to see some teams favor those far southeastern locations, it's going to be scouting out exactly where their other opponents are going to be going. We already see one team for Hokage popping off towards Puerto Paraiso, and then you also have the team of IGN. Ignite Gold is going to be trying to do something down there to the far south near Los Higos.
Yeah, they're going to take over that territory for themselves. Moving further up, we've got some late flyers in the form of Tempo Storm. They've dropped out there. I think the last to leave, ultimately, that plane was Team Anarchy, who had quite a slow showing on our first map. It's actually going to be Envious, who's the... No, it's not Envious, the last to leave. There's still more dropping out of the plane. Some... very staggered, because usually seeing these players drop all at the same time. This is a much more spread out deployment for the entirety of these teams.
It is, and sort of not what we're used to seeing on the first try for these teams in this lobby to compete against each other on this map. But we do see phase number 1, it will be popping up to the far northeast. So our team of 4 Hokage, actually it looks like Home Alone going to be the first knock of the game. Insane, going to be bleeding out. Cars are flying over his head, and G6 is trying to find that flush. As Bunny pulls up, he's going to be trying to provide some support. That Bronco providing some nice cover for the res as P-Win tries to find these aggressors. G6 fleeing off at the distance.
Yeah, they're getting away with their crimes, unfortunately, for Home Alone. They won't be finding blood for their transgressions. Shoot to win. Got themselves that vehicle. Going to be driving around, getting themselves to hopefully a safer position, because they are still very towards the south of this map, so they want to get the loot as fast as they can and start rotating up to that circle, which has dropped down on the northeast portion.
Yeah, Shoot to Win and Revenant having pretty solid performances in game number 1. Going to be tracking these teams over the course of game number 2 to see if they can keep that consistency up. And as we saw yesterday from Misfits, consistency is key. If you can do it, you're going to be pretty safe, feeling pretty good as you kind of grind your way through these group stages.
Lopez got himself a backpack and a vest. Nothing too major as he picks up the AK as well. Got some bandages to boot, but really you're looking for more when you're going into these mid-game fights. Good on the rotations coming in. Some fights happening on the northeast side of the map. Enemy King G going to be dropped down, unfortunately, and the kill's going to be confirmed by G6. They hop on their motorcycle and get away safely. Apparently, he had nothing in the crate worth looting, so they just left his ass straight away.
I mean, hey, we're only 3 minutes into the game. You have to expect that these players weren't able to pick up much. As we pop over here to one of our players from Revenant, it's going to be Espinoza looting up to his heart's content. He's got the M24 on his back as well as the M16, so not a bad loadout for him to sort of move into this early game with.
Looking at his disposables and resources, though, bandages, again, not getting much in there, no utility coming in, so it's going to be difficult for him as he's looking to potentially smoke out and protect his team from any engagements that start to go south, but he is operating by himself. Espinoza seems to be trying to group up with his team that's been divided by version 2 Black just south of La Cobrera.
Yes, they have to be careful there. How will the members of Revenant disengage off of this to reunite as that 4-stack? Or will they maybe see some shots coming out in between these two squads, because the rotation paths could be fairly similar as they have to make their way over to the east to get inside of phase 1. But the blue zone will start to shrink in on circle number 1 in just about 25 seconds time. So if you haven't already, now is exactly the time to start planning out that rotation, getting the squad back together and making sure that your strategy is both known from all of your teammates and everyone is on point with it.
Are you scared? We've got the northeast side of this map locked down to themselves. They're pretty much uncontested at the moment. The closest team to them is Method, but there's still a lot of territory to work with that's going to eventually be populated with these teams taking those paths into that northeast circle. Shoot to Win have even gone further south, just getting themselves down to the island of Los Higos as they're trying to get that loot before they move towards the territory. And Tintin looking pretty good right now. He's got himself a rifle, but a lot of these teams, they're really struggling to find meds at the moment. He's only got a helmet. He's not even got a vest to his name at the moment, Esquire.
Here's the thing. If you are you scared, then you're pretty confident in this drop location up here in Campo Militar and that no other teams are likely to go there. But lucky for them, the phase 1 did pop up in that northeastern side. It could have been a lot different for this team. Are You Scared might have a larger rotation should things not have worked out in their favor like they did. But they are going to be looting up a lot of loot in this area and uncontested, but they don't have to worry about a thing.
Looks like Home Alone just making their way into Los Leones. They're not alone at all, unfortunately. There's another squad occupying that territory with them. So maybe some engagements, especially when they try to depart Los Leones, because it's only the northeast section of that large location that's going to be unpopulated. As we can see that it's VN1 sharing that territory with them for now. They're going to load up in the vehicle and look to rotate out.
And Home Alone needs to start to be at least a little bit concerned because they lost a member early on before the rotation phase had even begun, and now they're going to have to be extra careful not to lose any more players along the way. P-Win and the rest of the crew, though, disengaging off the western side of Los Leones, hoping to find a vehicle near that warehouse strip that lies just down the hillside from where P-Win is approaching, as Plan B continues to scour the rest of Los Leones, trying to find whatever loot they can. I mean, here's the thing, 2 teams in this city, that's more than enough territory for both of them to loot up to their heart's content without losing anything in terms of an engagement.
Plan B just needs to be a little bit more cautious. He might be rattled from his experience in Vikendi. He was left alone by his team, and he was rushed by multiple members, and it was not pretty for him. So hopefully he's going to stay with his team a little bit more. They are very spread out for the time being, almost working in a 2-2 split for now, but need to be working at potentially going into a 4-man, because you never know who's going to arrive in the city. You have got Ignite Gold just to the south. We're on board with Revenants at the moment, still occupying that territory with version 2 Black, but they're getting into the convertible, going to get themselves further away from this position and start looking to get into that circle and maybe regroup with Espinosa along the way.
And this is what we're seeing all around the map, a great migration from all of the teams that were not fortunate enough to find themselves inside of phase number 1 here in game 2 of Miramar. Just at that 7-minute mark, though, the blue zone just over 50% of the way towards its final meeting point of phase number 1, so teams have at least a little bit more time under their belts to get into safety and hopefully avoid clashing with any teams on the edge, because Trid, looking at the map, some teams are certainly setting up on that western edge of circle number 1.
Western Edge is also getting a lot of attention, as well as the southern border. We've got the likes of Team Anarchy down there fighting away potentially with VN1, who've now got into vehicles and started to head north. They're chasing down someone from Hokage. It looks like Tsukasa may be being run down by some road warriors across this desert.
Certainly a caravan chasing after him, with the other members of Fort Hokage separated off to the south near Impala. They're going to have to figure out, will they let team number 11, VN1, make that push and avoid them entirely, or are they going to continue on the heels and hopefully support their solo teammate who's off there on the hillside just off of the mines?
And Revenants have successfully reconvened with their teammate Espinosa on the northwest border, so they can hold that off, because in the blue right now, we still got version 2 Black tanking it up. They're a 3-man squad. They lost a member early as well. They may have to pass through that same route that Revenants are locking down and playing Gatekeeper to, and that's going to be so big for them to have the engagement come to them on their terms.
So this is one of the rotations that teams can opt to take. You can take those fast rotations as soon as you see phase 1 pop, get a quick loot and go early, or you can take the middle of the pack rotation and risk kind of going in when everyone else does, or just like Shoot to Win is doing here, you can hang back in the blue zone, opt for that extra late rotation where no one will expect you coming into the zone. But here it is, Tsukasa has been spotted out, VN1 aggressing onto this compound, trying to get some shots, but it's going to be Tsukasa and the rest of Fort Hokage now coming in to support the solo player.
Tsukasa's already found one in this engagement and removed him. That VN1 are playing handicapped at the moment here. 1 man down, and they got a crossfire coming in on them. They're locked inside this tiny building. Tsukasa's doing great to play around passive cover as he cooks up a grenade, wants to get it in there. The smoke's been deployed by VN1. The grenade, I think it just went in, and it's a perfect knock onto Ran. The smoke grenade is down for VN1, so they have an opportunity to try and save, but the molly's coming for good measure. He's in the fire, and he can't escape the kitchen. Ran's going to be taken out for Hokage. Fantastic set piece there to try and take out VN1, and now they smell blood in the water. They want to finish it off, and look at Tsukasa going again. Will he knock down himself? No, he's not. He's turned it around, found himself Duke. 1 more member to deal with, and they're going to be able to walk away with a squad wipe. There's Hashirama to seal the deal.
You hate to see it. The aggressor becomes the aggressed upon here as Fort Hokage picks up a nice set of kills for them to walk into the early game with. That has got to feel good, but as we have seen, with placements being so heavily weighted here towards the top, you have to continue on. 4 kills is nice, but it's not going to be nice if you end up going out in 15th.
Well, talking of points, 16th place, not a good place to end there with 0 kills
Certainly,
as well.
Yeah.
So
there are a lot worse positions you could be in.
Yeah, we're talking about 4 kills not being enough. 0 points from an entire map. Certainly not the play. Shoot to Win. Going to apply some bandages. They're still tanking the blue at the moment. They're going to be coming in from the south side of the map to get into this circle, around in between Los Leones and Impala.
And here's the thing. I like this from Shoot to Win. With such a dominant performance in game number 1, they are really hedging their bet on this consistency. This late rotation is going to be favorable for them as phase number 2 pops. The blue zone going to be shrinking in about 5 seconds. So they have to worry about this because the damage continues to ramp up, although not significant at this stage in the game.
Ulysses?
Well, significant for Ulysses, was not able to get the meds off, and well, he's going to be dropped out of the vehicle immediately. Lopez continues on because, hey, he's low HP as well and only has 2 bandages and 2 energy drinks to his name. Shoot to win, looking a little worse for wear in terms of your utility.
Ulysses, I think he's too far away to be saved
Yes,
here. He's not going to be able to get back into play. He's a dead man. Shoot to win. Maybe miscalculated heavily there, and they're now handicapped because of it. This is not the play, and this is not what they want to be going into on this second map.
No, not what you would have expected from a top-tier play from first place in game number 1. But hey, with such a small sample pool of games, you don't exactly know who will reign supreme over the C and D lobby. We have to wait and see. We have to kind of wait for those all 4 games today to be played out as Tempo Storm starts to posture on the high ground just above where Method, Steamy, Pride, and the rest of the crew are inside.
And they have their escape plan. 3 vehicles up on that hill with them. So if the circle quickly changes away from this central position they have the mobility to be able to catch up with it and get into favorable positions. Version 2 Black getting up a knock and a kill. And it's Latinos Unidos Colonos returning the fire onto Chico as he gets the knock and the kill confirmed there. Got some health packs on the ground, trying to share some resources between them up on that high ground and reset as Revo will finish off a member from version 2 Black. And Collins also going to go down as well as Latinos Unidos. Again, finding them in that engagement as they're trying to stare each other down and trade bodies.
Yeah, it seems like version 2 Black was ending up on the downside of that engagement, not able to get the trades back and forth after that first knock and flush. But Method, they are posturing in this compound, continuing to look around, watch those flanks, because essentially they are fish in a barrel when it comes to what Tempo Storm's position could rain down in terms of Hell Fury on top of them. Ever Fury, though, speaking of which, he's going to continue to hide by the crates. He's looking up towards this hill. They might know that a storm is approaching.
With quick tempo, you could say as well. It's not going to be very slow when it hits there, but Pride also in there with Method. They're all together for now. They should be nice and safe. They're just aware of each other. That's all they need to be for now. Just need to make sure they're not caught out here. The circle has been shown again. Tempo inside of it, and going to be having Method playing just on the border of it. It's Are You Scared coming in from the northeast. They're going to go straight past Envious. You may want to take some shots if they're in vision. So they're going to take a few shots. Nothing secured from them yet. As Ever Fury and Method get into the vehicles and get out of this unfavorable position that Tempo held over them.
And looking at this map far down to the southeast, you also saw Shoot to Win on the edge of the blue zone. They've got maybe the farthest transition to make here in this game. But Kreecha, he's on the 2C, or rather, yeah, he's on the bike. He's going to be cruising down along this hillside, possibly trying to scout out some information on the eastern side of this circle, but he's got to turn back in. They've got to find a compound as his teammates. Knockhead going to be finding a nice knock with the barrel onto his opponent. Are You Scared going to be losing the member, drop down, but Reckless is taking damage as well. The engagement is popping off.
Knockhead taking a few knocks himself as he wants to get into cover, has to apply the bandage. Are You Scared? I don't think they'll be able to bring their member back into the fight just yet. Might Dog, I think, is still crawling around in cover. He's going to have that kill finished off. In fact, Ever Fury being picked off by version 2 White on the other side of the map. And Ever Fury having that kill confirmed against him. So Method have lost one of their star players from the previous map and previous showing as Might Dog's kill now going to be confirmed. James going to get knocked down as well for Team Anarchy. It's Tanker and the rest of Revenant being the ones to deal with that. As Reckless looking for some kind of recovery with the rest of Envious. And it's Are You Scared who has the slight high ground advantage, but there's a lot of terrain and a vehicle with Envious to work with.
Exactly, and in this third-person perspective, I mean, it really isn't too significant in terms of the information that can be gained behind this defilade on behalf of Envious, but they're continuing to push up towards Are You Scared. I think they've got an idea. Certainly they saw in the kill feed that they got to knock onto this squad, and well, I think right now Envious might be saying, guys, we are more powerful, we are stronger than this Are You Scared team. Perhaps we should take this engagement.
Especially when they're hiding in a hut. You got Cal just there by himself right now. If Envious have that information and figure out that he's solo, I'm just going to look to come around here and try and just finish him off and make sure it's a sealed deal. They're throwing nades at the building. They're trying to flush him out. If he stays in there any long, they're going to find that magic Kobe that's just going to go straight in there for the accuracy. And behind it is Cal's actually not inside the hut itself, just playing around behind it. Money going to get dropped there for 4 Hokage. Tempo Nico, the one to pick up that knock. Is going to press forward. Knock. Head leading the charge. He goes around the building, tries to rotate around the fence. Will receive spray fire, but his aim's too good. It's too true. As Cal just be knocked down and finished off by a powerful Envious rush.
Yeah, that lead fragger on behalf of Envious, Knockhead, playing a very significant role there. And what he was able to do, he didn't spot out that member of Are You Scared immediately, but he had the quick flick to spray him down immediately thereafter. As the kill feed continues to light up, it looks like Tempo Storm going to be losing multiple members right now. Are You Scared going to be lending a hand in that as well. Third-party engagement popping off as Envious tries to reset off of this engagement, holding on pretty to the northeastern side of the zone.
Yeah, Tempo were just sandwiched between Team Anarchy and Are You Scared, and this could end up being lit up as P-Win. Just going to be taken out by the vehicle here. Plan B also getting knocked by that one. Proton from I'm Your Enemy, able to figure that one out for himself, as Martin going to be dropped from shoot to win as shots are coming in. He just doesn't have the HP, will go down. Proton making sure that that comes in with another kill for I'm Your Enemy.
We did see phase number 4 pop on the map. It's going to be a pretty dire shift over there to the northwest. A lot of teams outside of the play zone, not many teams inside. Tempo Storm and G6, essentially the only teams inside as Latinos Unidos makes that trek as well. But here it is, Proton, or rather, for Hokage now lining up. They're going to be caught in another engagement. They reign supreme at the beginning of the game with a whopping 4 kills in the squad wipe, but can they continue on? Because they did lose a little bit in terms of attrition in that fight.
You got Ignite Gold trying to find their way into this circle from the western flank as well. They're going to be driving up there or moving around as Hashirama taking cover behind the building. Try and find the shots. Lopez will downed. Tobarama, he's going to be dropped. Hashirama answers on to Lopez. Gets the down. Able to get the flush as well on the back end of that. He rotates around and tries to get a flank onto the rest of this shoot-to-win squad. Potentially remove them nice and early. But he's playing with Tobarama. Both of the Ramas alive at the moment, but he's down. He needs to find a way to recover, but the first aid has to come in. Take care of yourself before you deal with others. But in that moment of self-care, Tobarama's going to go down. And so now he's having to play as a solo operator.
So look at this, Psycho, a 1v1 scenario with Hashirama for Hokage, who will be able to come up on top of this because, hey, shoot to win. They're one of the powerful teams here in this lobby. They can't afford to go out in 14th position. The nades are coming out. The zoning pressure is being applied to Hashirama, but will he be able to aggress upon this, or is he going to try to disengage entirely and try to be the insurance policy for his team? Placement is key, and I think Hashirama has recognized that fact.
I think it's a gentleman's agreement. They're both the last or the lone star warriors for both of their teams. So I think they're just going, you know what? Guys, let's play placement. I don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. Let's just walk away. And if we see each other in the end game, we'll then take another shot at it then. I'm not ready to do it now.
I don't think so. I don't think so, unless they were throwing some emotes saying timeout, 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 but we did not see that happen. Hashirama continues on, though.
It's almost an unwritten rule, though. It's like, come on.
Hey, you catch me in a PUBG mobile game, and I'm taking you down and out. There are going to be no treaties here with Esquire, so if you see my name in the kill feed, watch out. But Hashirama disengages entirely. He's going to be approaching the edge of what is amounted to phase number 4, but approaching the edge doesn't always mean it's going to be safe. Other teams will be lying in wait, especially on the southern edge. Home Alone's Bunny, the solo remaining member for this squad, postured just above on the cliffside from where enemy's Proton is.
And the sharks are swimming at his ankles. Enemy just circling him. If he steps off that rock into their pool of influence, he will get munched down, and there's not much he can do about it. As they're pushing up, Gucci wants to get on land himself, grow some legs, walk up there and evolve a couple of million years too soon. As Bunny seems to be on the menu for him, throws that grenade over the top, just try and flush him out. Gucci not able to get it, but his teammates are there. Proton nice and easy. You flush him out, and his team's there to secure the kill.
Exactly. Saw the head of that player from Home Alone and quickly reacted off of it with shots as well as information to his other squad mates. As we see the play zone taking down one of the members of the Revenants. Hashirama, though, the solo player, spots out Team Anarchy. Going to be spraying down. Player number 9 is able to get the knock, but he has to worry about one other player. Micro T going to be trying to wrap around, using this Death Light to his advantage as Hashirama going to be going for the flush. He knows he's a solo player. He got to get whatever points he can, and he's going to be able to do it. A 2v1 scenario coming up for Hashirama, but the blue zone ends up taking him down. Unfortunately, dropped down to 2 low HP from that engagement.
Yes, Micro TT returning fire, make sure that happens. Clay's going down at the moment. Ignite Gold being the ones to be able to get that kill. But that's Hashirama. We're saying goodbye to him. 9 squads remaining, 27 players still on the board. And if we have a look at that map, Tempo still in control of a circle despite losing too early on. I'm looking at Envious to make a big impact as they come in and start breaching this circle.
Absolutely, and Envious is going to be holding on to the high ground. Great lines of sight onto the warehouse that Tempo Storm is currently holding in. But down to the south, we have a few battles starting to line up as version 2 White off to the eastern position of where enemy Senso is currently posturing. They've got to wrap around this western hillside to avoid those lines of sight because, hey, blue zone's on your back, play position first and then worry about the frags.
Creature and the rest of Envious, they've got a vehicle destroyed. They have to use that as there's some immobile cover now, but we talked about those great silence now going to have as they start to rain down fire onto Latinos Unidos. They're inside a building, so they have plenty of cover to work with. Now they have to worry about their flanks, though. They are in a central position. Comes with its benefits of control, but it also comes with the disadvantages of angles to worry about. This fire's lit up to him by Revo as he's firing on them on the hills. Prone position, nice accuracy. Through this open gallery he's got, his creature will get knocked by members of G6. That's that second engagement. The alternative angles they needed to be concerned with, and it's not working for them as they go into full recovery mode.
As you can see, the landscape of the mid to late game here on Miramar wide open. Sure, there is cover, but a lot of space in between as version 2 White going to be crashing into the compound where Tempo Storm has been holding. They're going to be able to get a nice knock, but they continue to swarm on where Spec's location is. Shots coming out, a full retreat, and now hiding in the corner, just lying in wait, trying to spot out one of these players, and he's going to be able to do so.
Bad player, and the rest of the team are going to breach. He can't deal with it. I know he got 2 knocks. Wouldn't be able to finish it off. Version 2 White comes in for the save the day, but Revo from the outside looking to apply pressure until he's knocked down by Ignite Gold. It's Marvin there to deal with him as Creature's going to be knocked down by G6. Bad player also being dropped by Spec. Ultimately will die, as well as Maluma going down. This is huge for Tempo. They rack up those 2 additional kills before they go down. Those 2 extra points could make the difference when it comes down to the standings.
5 teams remaining just past that 20-minute mark. Trid, a much more active game than we saw on Vikendi, and you have to be worried right now about Latinos Unidos. They started to take those shots from that far northern position. They're still not inside of the circle. A few smokes for concealment, but they're going to be caught out. IGN going to be spraying him down. Clonus getting knocked immediately. He's safe inside of the zone, but he's going to be flushed down. That's going to be points going over to Ignite Gold as Latinos and Nidos continue on that track, trying to get in.
And Chacho willing to tank the blue to get to a favorable position there as he gets behind the rock. You've got G6 on a nice high ground. I think they have the altitude advantage across all teams and are going to be able to push down if they need to. Got smoke to play with. The immobile cover. You got I'm Your Enemy Gucci looking at him with the rifle, the bolt action, unable to go ahead and secure the kill, but trying to put damage, but more importantly, pressure onto this lineup in the Northeast, because Are You Scared have been relatively uncontested. They dropped 2. Tintin and Sai are still going to be on the live for them, but the only complete squad it looks like in the area right now is that lineup of G6.
And here's the thing, look at this play area. The road effectively splits this phase in half. You're going to have to hedge your bet where it's going because that road is going to serve as a no man's land if you have to cross it eventually. Are You Scared, though, down to the southeast? They are not in the play zone. They're holding on tight to that shack with some cars for cover, but here comes G6. They're crashing in. 4 in the Dacia, now behind the rock, and they've got sights on Ignite Gold, as well as a few other teams off in the distance. Enemy pushing up, and it's going to be G6 now starting to frag out. Alish going to be finding a nice knock onto Ignite Gold's Fi.
Going to be dropped to begin with, and they're playing around the cover. Chacho just taken out straight away by Yayo. I know that sounds like I'm rhyming or making these names up, but that's legitimately what we're dealing with right now. The Jamon holding behind that rock for now as Gucci pressing forward into the car, goes prone in the field, goes for a quick reload, wants to get the reset, and he's ready to fight some more as he presses around the silo, pulls out the rifle, and wants to get these long-distance shots potentially onto G6.
G6 versus I'm Your Enemy versus Are You Scared? The final 3 teams remaining in the final moments of this Miramar match is a 3v3 or 3v2 v4 situation rather for players in favor of G6. Will they be able to utilize that man advantage, or will they find themselves not really benefiting from that man-up position? But Gucci continues to look on. He knows that he's got the members of Are You Scared effectively pinned on that hillside. And a nice knock coming out. That's going to be a K98 headshot connection onto Yayo.
What a corker onto Yayo. Going to knock him down straight away. Gucci still got 2 more shots in this rifle. ready to go and pump them out if anyone pops their heads, and you can't be stationary now. He's been knocked by a rifle. G6 now know that sights are trained on their position, so we're going to see some more mobile play coming out from them. They can't go for the static shots right now. That information has been translated over to them. Yayo still not been recovered yet, but his teammate is in the process of bringing him up. I believe it's Jakob who's going to be there for the res.
Based off of the positioning of these teams in the terrain, we might see a three-way fight, essentially a triangular formation between the three teams remaining in this zone. And, well, it could be anyone's game, essentially, at this point in time. Are You Scared starting to move up off of that shack side, trying to use whatever defilade they can as the blue zone aggresses on top of Senso's backside.
Sai using the first aid kit, wants to heal up before what could be the final engagement. They're going to have to expose themselves. Someone is walking into the firing line, but it's a triangle of death between these three teams, all holding polar opposite angles as Alashi trying to scout ahead, find a safe pass for G6 to give it the cover, opens it up onto I'm Your Enemy. Gucci taking 0 damage, but will go into cover. So he's given away his position, but at least he knows now where I'm Your Enemy is, and they're going to be moving into the cover of this barn, or this shack, so to speak.
This could be a huge game for any of the three teams involved here, but especially for the team of Enemy. They currently have, I believe that's 8 kills to their name. They're trying to rack that up as much as possible, and the action pops off. G6 Alushi, another knock onto Enemy Senso, and they're going to be continuing to spray through the smoke, finding another knock onto Proton. Just going to be Gucci now behind this
on
tank.
The backside. Are You Scared? Just going to get that shot off with a rifle of their own, but they're rushing forward on I'm Your Enemy. They're in prone, and there's the wipe coming in. Aggressive plays coming in from Alushi and the rest of G6. They now have to turn their attention to Are You Scared? They're moving in, but they got smoke and a crate in the way, I believe, as they need to press forward and find a way in. Now they're playing with these long sight lines, abusing the fact he's got that rifle as well as this M4 to play around with.
It's looking like a 3v2 scenario. One player knocked currently for G6. Will they be able to recover off of this? Because 10-10 and Sai are pushing up, but that's going to be Sai getting knocked. It's going to be one player left on behalf of Are You Scared? 10-10 now hiding behind the rock. He's got a few seconds to work with, immediately sticking the res. Hopefully he's going to be able to get Sai up so that they can continue on, but it's not going to be easy as Jacob continues to aggress.
They're throwing the nades. There's the angle coming in from Alushi. He presses forward and finds the spray down. Are You Scared going out in second, but it's G6 taking their first win of the Club Open.
And in high fashion, too, a 12-kill win. That's going to be points on points on points, 42 to be exact. And if you're on G6, Yayo, Alushi, Hamon, or Jakob, you got to be extremely happy with what you just put down on the desert.
Alushi, he saw the performances yesterday from the likes of Acer and Sin, and they were like, you know what, I want me some of that. I'm going to get a high kill game. I'm going to go aggressive. I'm going to push the advantage, push everything we have, and take out Are You Scared? Disappointing that they weren't able to clean it up by themselves, because we saw the intent there by the rest of G6. I believe we saw Jakob trying to push on that eastern or the rightmost flank of them and pressure them, even with grenades. Unable to find it. Res did come off, but just this long arcing flank from Alushi opened up a new sightline, new possibilities, and there was nothing they could do to stop it.
Yeah, really at that stage in the game, you needed Are You Scared to try to get a knock onto one of the aggressive players from G6 and then go for the res or possibly the game finish. But hey, in those moments when seconds are so critical and the pressure is so on, you know, the wrong move, it can just happen. It can certainly happen sometimes, but Enemy as well. Coming up huge, right? Not a bad kill count for them in addition to those third place points, 8 kills in total.
Well, the best move you can make right now, staying with us. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you the double helping of Erangel.
Welcome back, everyone, to day number 2 of the 2019 PUBG Mobile Club Open. If you've happened to miss some of the action over the last 2 days, make sure to head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com. We've got VODs as well as an extended bit of information for you to check out.
And of course, you can always check out all of the action on the PUBG Mobile Esports channel as well. Go ahead and subscribe to that one, guys. Keep up to date with all the action because, like we said, North America, that's the region you're watching right now, but we're not the only players in this game. We've got regions across the world, and when it comes around to those global finals, you're going to want to be clued up on who's here to party.
Absolutely. The more information you have as a viewer, the better that you can understand and track the progress of these teams. But speaking about progress of these teams, Trid, we had a pretty good game number 2 on Miramar. Some pretty stellar combat coming out from some of our top teams.
Yeah, right at the end, it was all about that envious push coming in here, just able to clear them out, hiding behind the rock. Are you scared? Coming in, valiant effort, bringing back his teammate into the fight. There were just that 2 members remaining, but you're going up against a nearly full-strength squad, and things weren't looking good after you cleared out that third party. It was all on Envious just to clean it up, and they did it all by the numbers, by the book. Nothing much to be said about it there.
Nope, nothing much to be said about it other than talking about G6 with that 12-kill chicken dinner. Certainly a way to propel yourself up on those global leaderboards, trying to get as many points as possible. Remember, at the end of these 2 weeks, the bottom 8 teams of 32 are going to be dropped out. No more chances for them to try to progress through this tournament.
And we're moving close to those, to those days, because there are 3 game days for every group, right? We're coming about halfway through. We've hit that second half mark of our second game day, and A and B, they're just sitting pretty for now. A have to worry about what's happening tomorrow because they're going to go up against Group C. And people to watch in that group, obviously, Shoot to Win. They picked up a victory. G6 also going to be in that Group D. So people are going to be looking out for them when we go around to next week's action. But Shoot to Win got themselves on the map already. Erangel, we keep talking about how that is the map that's most important. You see that twice as much as any other map, minimum, in this tournament. And I think this is the true indication of what this group will look like. It will be based entirely on the Erangel performance.
Exactly right. Looking back at our day 2 schedule, you can see the victor of game number 1 on Vikendi, Shoot to Win, with a nice 6-kill victory. And then as we popped over to Miramar, the game that was just played out, Granhadev Gaming, or G6, picked up that W in high fashion. But Trid, now it's time to pop over to Erangel, the map that's been around since the inception of PUBG Mobile, the map that most of these players should be incredibly familiar with, and well, we've got 2 of them. And like you mentioned, Trid, these are the maps that you want to be excelling in, and really the beefier points are going to be coming from this map. So hey, if you're not an Erangel team, well, now might be the time to start practicing.
I don't think you would have made it very far in PUBG Mobile Esports if you weren't an Erangel team.
I know, exactly.
That is the staple, along with Miramar at times as well.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Sometimes we have teams that identify. They say, hey, look, we are a Miramar-based team. That's where we're expecting to get a bulk of our points. But when you look at the map breakdown here in the PUBG Mobile Club Open, it's not going to be able to work like that. Essentially, you have to be masters of all maps, especially Erangel.
I mean, if you were a Miramar favorite team and you were banking on getting your victories just on Miramar, I've got bad news for you. You're not going to play it again after today until you get to the semifinals, so maybe put your eggs in another basket. And I'm going to say it again, just for reference. Erangel is the basket you want those eggs in, as we're getting so close to getting these guys up in the air, sending them over. So we're going to jump into our 3rd map of the day. It's your first serving of Erangel, and we're heading from northeast to southwest.
Exactly right. That plane going to be favored a little bit down towards the southeastern region of Erangel. So a lot of the northwestern positions, shooting range, Georgia, Pole, Severny, or Zarky, should teams opt to go that far off to the northwest, should be a little bit out of reach. They're going to have to find some vehicles to make that trek. But 60 players in, we already have seen 1 team drop out. Are we going to see teams, Trid, go back down to Military Island? We saw a few conflicts there yesterday. Will there be a repeat?
I honestly don't know what to call at this point, Esquire, simply because I don't think these teams are 100% sold on who's dropping where, and with the groups constantly changing, their opponents constantly changing, I don't think anyone's going to be able to have a guaranteed drop anywhere. So Military Island might be an option for a couple of these teams. We see some starting to pan down towards the south side of this island, But that bridge yesterday was such an important piece of Misfit's strategy. It could also play into today, depending on where that first phase circle lies and the subsequent following ones.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Both bridges yesterday in our Erangel matches were hotbeds for destructions, turning into cemeteries, graveyards, as we continued on through those games. But a new game, a new set of teams entirely to try to plan out how they're going to be rolling around on Erangel. All of our teams, though, are out of the cargo hold, now left to parachute down to those primary loot locations. And, well, I'm already starting to see a few conflicts starting to arise as Phase 1 pops, and it's going to be going over towards the eastern side of the Erangel.
So the likes of Zaki, shooting range, Georgia Paul, yeah, you can probably dip in and out of there, but you're not going to want to go there for very long at all, considering where the circle is already. P-Win being knocked out, as well as Bunny, as Psycho's found himself an AK, and he's starting to let loose on this map.
Certainly is. G6 posturing here in Rozhok. It's going to be a Lushy rolling up here to Roz Hill, the Water Tower Hill. It's a great place to get information. Should he look off to the west, he might be seeing Team Anarchy in a rotation, maybe heading towards Watertown, but shots are popping off. A lot of teams in that school and apartments area, certainly deadly close to one another.
Ulysses and the rest of Shoot to Win still alive in this matchup. They claimed that first frag, and I believe it was members from Home Alone being dropped down there off the back of Psycho's plays. They finished him off with the fists. Conserved ammo. And now Bunny, just waiting to be executed. Guillotine coming in.
He's talking to him right now.
Yeah, he's having a pep talk. Don't worry, bud.
Listen, Bunny, you shouldn't have come here. Look at what happened to you, and now we continue on with a whopping 3 kills to our name. Shoot to Win. They've been an aggressive team, at least what we saw in game number 1. They had a few missteps in game number 2, but this could be the opportunity for redemption.
So they haven't completely removed Home Alone. There's a couple of members, mainly Plan B, still alive, and he certainly is the Plan B for this team. Just stay alive as long as he can. Hopefully climb up those placements. But he's going to be severely hindered from having active participation in this map. It's Hashirama about to collapse onto another team. Look at this engagement here as Tempo holding down that territory, and the circle starts to come into play here as Hashirama looking to find a round, but it's Manny leading the charge, pushing Tempo back as Nico's trying to take cover. He's on his last bit of life here as they open up on him as he's trying to retreat. Won't find the knock. Tempo get into cover for now, but he needs to get Nico back in this game.
The Mini 14 iron sight's not the best to work off of. Certainly you want some sort of optic on top of it, but it's not going to stop Money from being able to land those connections. For Hokage playing extremely aggressively. We saw them play this style on Miramar, and they're not giving Tempo Storm any room to work with as Chica is feeling the pressure, trying to hide on the top of this building, trying to get some information as to where the 4 Hokage push is exactly coming from.
And Nico was able to get that meds in, able to heal himself up so he can participate in this one. As Chica going to take down Hashirama. Money's also been dropped, so now they have a 2-man advantage. They need to press the issue. Specs coming in from behind, but Nico rushes towards them, deals with Toshirama, or Tobirama, very handedly, as Chica wants to come in and reinforce them. Loot off to the side, but it's going to be a drop down there for Sukanade. He's going to be cleared out, as is the rest of 4 Hokage. Tempo Storm coming in strong with the squad wipe.
Exactly. Tempo Storm are the kings of Milta, and we're going to have to watch in game number 4. Will 4 Hokage try to tempt fate and go back to this area, or will they disengage entirely and go to drop location B? Hopefully they have a drop location B. Certainly that's something to have in the playbook of a professional PUBG Mobile team. But big ups for Tempo Storm, picking up 4 kills. They're having a better performance than we've seen them have over the course of our first 2 games today.
Maybe it's map comfort, maybe Erangel, the familiarity, they're more attuned with what they're supposed to be doing, and have a game plan, and they're gonna execute it. Fantastic start from Tempo. Let's see if they can keep it up as they move further on. Looking on the western side of the map, some teams did opt to go for Georgia Paul. You've got Method in the north, and you've got Team Anarchy is also sitting there just in the south, northeast of Hospital. As version 2 Black heading up there towards Ruins may clash into them as the rotation comes in towards the circle. Because that phase 1 circle, it's popped and it's quite pushed over to the east, covering the likes of Yasnaya and Pachinki.
Yeah, a few other areas that we saw pretty highly contested at the onset of game number 3. Yasnaya, Polyana had 2 teams drop nearby. Also the school apartments area, pretty hot. And then, of course, the battle in Milta that we just saw played out. But with the blue zone now starting to move in, teams are going to have to, if they haven't already, think about these rotations, how they're going to be able to traverse over this terrain to get inside of the safe zone without losing anything in the process.
Vigilante and the rest of Revenant in Yasnaya right now. Uncontested so far. Teams are heading towards them just on the side. You see that solo operator from Home Alone just on the southeast corner of Yasnaya, just pushing around, hiding probably if I was him. If he's hearing these footsteps, seeing these players run around, he does not want to take a 4v1.
Especially against Revenant.
Yeah, Revenants, absolutely. They've been pretty good when it comes to taking these engagements. From the West, though, they need to be worrying about Shoot to Win, who are coming in here in 2 vehicles, going for a 2-2 split. But they're pressing into Yasnaya on the West, hoping to find some loot as they've opened it up already, making a little bit of noise, but not contesting Revenants fully yet.
And here's the thing, Yasnaya is sort of like Los Leones on Miramar, big enough of a city for 2 teams to loot comfortably inside, but if you look at Revenant's position, they're so far pushed over and controlling such a large territory of Yasnaya by virtue of really no contention there by any other team. Certainly they do have Home Alone's plan B now moving in after he lost 3 of his squad members, but you have to be worried. If any other teams push in here, given its position inside of the circle of Yasnaya, will they be able to defend against this? Will they be able to search and destroy the team of Revenants?
They're just going to bunker down for now, sort out their loot, try and get some distribution going on. Looking pretty kitted if you're Espinosa right now. You got yourself 10 bandages, 2 first aid kits, and you got level 2 armor, helmet, and backpack. Also some utility and an energy drink to count. This is looking pretty good for them.
Not to mention one of the favorite weapons as well, the M416.
Yeah.
You know, it's certainly everyone has their favorite weapon. Some weapons just fit your play style a little bit better, but it seems that notoriously players now are opting for that M416.
And Shoot to Win, opting for the AK instead. Don't know if that's by choice or not. It just depends on what loot he's been able to find, as they're still trying to find everything they can before things start to
M416 picked up.
There you go. Optional. Heath now found it. Gonna get himself that M416, so it is the preferred weapon for a lot of these players.
AKM out of necessity. What a world. What a world he was in, but he's now got the prime weapon, the meta weapon lineup. The arsenal has been secured. Ulysses and the rest of the crew, though, they're on that western end of Yasnaya, and what we did see some other teams posturing on the eastern end of Yasnaya. You might even see Revenants get pinched inside of that city as time progresses here through the early game.
They have got the fallout point to the east, though. They only have to run through Plan B as solo player. Revenants are coming in. Well, Revenants might be pinched by Shoot to Win on the west, but it's not as if it's a fully strength. It's like one limp crab claw, right? It's not going to be able to get the pinch going on, not full pressure coming in. So
I'm picturing limp crab claws right now.
That's exactly what I wanted you to do. Basically do that, but Espinosa, there he is. Snaps off that weak limb, and hopefully he can grow another one on the next map, because that's all she wrote.
That is all she wrote.
For
you hate to see
that
it.
team.
Yeah, you hate to see it if you are the members of Home Alone, but fortunately enough, you still have some more matches to play here in the group stages to bounce back off of that performance. Shoot to Win, though, they're going to be rolling in here. These are our victors from matches 1 and, our victors from match 1.
Yes.
Shoot to Win, pushing in on a very dominant team as well. Revenants, certainly not a team to be messed with. They had the highest kill count so far on the day with 13 kills. They picked up 2nd place in game number 1, narrowly missing their mark and picking up the 1st place spot, but we'll see what they can do here, because they are certainly going to feel some pressure here in about maybe a minute.
I'll be really interested to see how this pans out with the standings at the end of the day, because obviously Group A and B have played yesterday. They've already got their allotted points so far for the first set of games. And Group C and D, they want to get on the board and see if they can dethrone some teams. And they're going to struggle to dethrone Misfits, but they can definitely get up there into the top 5.
And here it is. Phase number 2 has popped, staying with that theme of being on the eastern side of Erangel. Going to be centered directly on top of not only Tempo Storm, but also that shelter area. And Trid, if it continues to shrink on shelter, you could see some very interesting battles play out if we make it all the way in to the final phase of the game, phase number 9.
Yeah, it's going to be forcing them underground potentially if they get caught off there too early. But Shoot to Win. The rest of the teams up in the north still playing around Yasnaya. You got to envy us over to the northeast as they're coming in from the northeast of Mansion. Peralta taking some fire as he drove through that lineup of Shoot to Win, but he's back on the team and he's brought a Dacia, so they're going to be able to hop in that vehicle and rotate around when they need to.
And I mean, here's the thing, that road going through Yasnaya is like a tunnel. You can see from one end of Yasnaya all the way to the other, and that was Shoot to Win spotting out the vehicle from Revenants, putting out some shots, just letting them know, hey, we're here. You push over to the western side of Yasnaya, and we're going to be lighting you up. And Revenants pushing out entirely. They're going to be probably shifting for a better location inside of phase number 2. You don't necessarily want to ride the edge if it doesn't play for you in terms of your strategy. And, well, I think this is the right call for Peralta and crew because, hey, they're a dominant team. They're not shy from battle, and this is exactly the position that you want to be taking up if that's the case.
Ignite Gold getting awfully close to version 2 white right now around that farm area, and that that could cause an engagement down the line. Is Reckless actually going to drive straight past Tempo here, making a lot of noise. No shots fired yet, so Tempo going to take those shots finally now. Try and take out Reckless. Knockhead is in the area as well. Will get the knockdown onto Reckless. This is not looking good for Envious as Reckless just opened up on by Tempo. Spec being the one to secure the kill.
Yeah, deadly scout for one of the members of Envious. You can see the other members of Envious now sort of trailing off to the northeast of this position, holding onto that warehouse. But here comes G6, a Lushy. He's going to be scouting out this area as well for his team. Hopefully he gets shot at least that's his hope, so that he is alerted of any enemy presence nearby, but not going to be happening just yet. Tempo Storm all 4 up and certainly looking the direction of Envious to try to spot out their threats.
Spotted out that member from G6, gonna change that window. They want to finish him off, and oh no, Jack up into the firing line. Another one falls prey to the Tempo trap.
Some say the motorcycle is the most dangerous vehicle inside of PUBG Mobile. Others say that it's going to be the buggy, because here's the thing. If that buggy tire, any one of those 4 tires gets popped out, that thing is spinning and spinning and spinning, and you're going to be stranded, just like we saw that member of G6. But back over here, Revenant still posturing over here. Espinoza and Peralta hanging out in the vehicle, just trying to get a grasp of their surroundings.
As Envious still reeling from that loss. They've obviously had lost Reckless so early into this first Erangel map, and our Method actually going to be the 3rd victim to fall prey. Everfury going down. Spec able to find these shots this time at great range, just lost, trying to get the confirmed kill. Having to rely on the bullet drop to get that one down, as Chico will take out Everfury. There was an attempt from Method to go back and save him, but it just came in too late, and now you're going to have to send him away. Unable to get that one.
Chica's being an impact player right now for the Tempo Storm squad, and given their position dead in the center, wide open areas around them, and so many teams scouting this compound.
Oh no, not again. Method being spotted out this time by Revenant. Shibe on that high ground, lost the vehicle, now he's pinned down behind the UAZ. It's not looking good for them, having just come off the back of losing one of their members already, Everfury, to go down there. Now Jipe pops the smoke, wants to try and recover, but Revenants do have sight, and they're not contested from any other angle, so they're free to open up on him the second he loses that smoke coverage.
Yeah, he continues to pop out a few extra smokes, though. His plan right now, at least from what we're seeing, is to try to get to the tree cover and then worry about how you disengage off of that. But Revenants, they're not going to be giving up anything easy. They need to rack up these kills, especially seeing in the kill feed. Tempo Storm popping off like none other. Tanker and his teammate moving into this building. It's going to be one of the 3-story buildings in this compound, creating a lot of line of sight. But I think it's time for Revenants to get out of dodge as phase number 3 pops, and we're going to be shifting over to the eastern side of our previous circle.
All right, Method, you can breathe a sigh of relief now. They have to change their attention. They're playing tempo right now. Revenants, they see the circle change, they immediately want to go and reassess the situation, find something advantageous for them to hold and dictate their own pace, take destiny into their own hands. And they've relinquished that tight hold that they had over Method, and might be able to get back one into this one as Lutinas Unados. Chacho going to be going down nice and early, so they're going to be playing with a handicap team for the rest of the map.
And I want to go back to Revenants for a second, because that's one of the telling signs of a very good PUBG Mobile squad. The ability not just to know when to engage, but also knowing when to disengage, as G6 is Yayo going to be popping out onto Ignite Gold right now, trying to cross through the wide open fields near the hilltop compound. They're going to be hitting the jump, but wide in the air as the shots come out. No connections, but a lot of pressure being felt by Ignite Gold.
Able to get back behind that house ultimately, and it's G6 exerting it. It's Angel C28 going down. Latinas Unadas not having a good round. Lots of members have been dropped here as Anarchy going to find 9 being dropped and removed by Clonus, and Micro TT as well. Anarchy's being lit up by Latinas Unados as Revo and Angel, the return fire comes in. They're going to clean out Clonus, and that should be the squad wipe against them, as Espinoza now under fire from Ignite Gold, and they're going to be answered back as Vigilante returns it. Revenant's returning that fire, securing a couple of kills. It's Quip going to be also dropped by Vigilante as they take control of the situation and deflect Ignite Gold's offensive.
Reaching that 15-minute mark of the game, essentially the halfway point where the games tend to last for just roughly around 30 or a little bit above 30 minutes, but they have to be now concerned. Tempo Storm has been able to pick up 7 kills so far, and I mean, Trid, there are still 40 more opportunities beyond them to pick up even more kills. And in this dominant compound they continue to hold, well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tempo Storm going into double digits.
Talked about Misfits Magic yesterday. We could see Tempo Magic today on the first Erangel
we
map.
need something better than Tempo Magic. We got to have that alliteration going.
Tempo trickery.
Tempo trickery. I like it. We got Misfits Magic and Tempo trickery.
And some teams may refer to it as tempo thievery.
Oh,
it does
I like it better.
The win for them because they're just stealing these circles. But it was not to be. The circle's all the way over in prison. That's exactly where you go if you get caught for thievery.
And what could be better than having 7 kills with a nice care package?
The
on your
tempo
doorstep?
treasury. Do you want more alliteration, or
Yes.
are we done now?
Keep it up. Don't stop anytime soon, Trid, because you are bringing the heat here in these PUBG Mobile broadcasts. Revenant's going to be on a transition of their own, trying to get into this far hard shift over to the east once again. Phase number 4 in full effect. 20 seconds until these teams will be facing off against an approaching blue zone. But look at all the caravans in the distance from Revenant's perspective. They've got to worry about Envious as well as Method, and the shots are coming out. It looks like Envious is taking damage, and Revenant's Vigilante immediately turning around. He says, nope, guys, let's spin it around and go back to safety.
But that buggy, there was it's such a downfall. It caused a lot of downfall from teammates earlier when they were running into this fire from Tempo. But they got the buggy of their own here as G6 wants to get back on the move. That freewheeler or the free seater, not going to be a good option for the rest of G6. They may want to lock down this compound now and play around the cover created by these vehicles. Try and make something work of the position they've been given because they are just in the circle, but shoot to win in their sights. Psycho firing bullets towards them, opens it up as he leans around the tree, unable to land that shot, but he's cooking up a nade. It's going to be the smoke to drop down in front of him, provide some cover as one's launched over the top. Yamon throwing it into the back line as Yayo has been knocked down for G6. So they're playing with a man disadvantage. Grenade went in there. Yamon's right on top of him. Wants to get that resurrection in as Alushi has been knocked by a nice headshot coming in. Lopez cooking up the grenade, throws it through the smoke to finish off Alushi as they storm this crater, swarm this small little shack as Alushi will lose that HP, get finished off, and I believe that's G6, our previous map winners, being eliminated if they can just find Yayo. And it's going to be that team to make it work. Lopez getting that final kill.
It was only a matter of time based off of G6's position. They kind of forced themselves to be stuck inside of that shack and will shoot to win. They're fighting. They are trying to climb these ranks here in the Erangel matches, but over here, Revenant's going to be spraying down on a version 2 white, trying to crash the compound where Ignite Gold is currently sitting. A 3-way engagement starting to pop off on the northeastern side of the map, and will shoot to win. Isn't too far off in the distance either. With that high ground position, they might be able to look down and fourth party rather, onto this.
And Mega looking to try and get into the cover. He was the player that was knocked down as Maluma's cooking up that nade. Wants to throw it out there. Not going to find anything just yet as they retreat away. They saw exactly what's going on. Oh, Ignite Gold, Chaos. Going down low.
Going down very low, but both teams kind of stalling here as we pop back over to Tempo Storm just north of Prison, favoring over towards the eastern side of phase number 4. Blue Zone just past that 50% mark of its shrink, so we're starting to see teams reposture for the impending circle number 5 that is approaching. But Nico continues on. Tempo Storm able to rack up one more kill, now currently sitting at 8.
As version 2 white still trying to get back into this game. They just had a fight Southeastern Mansion against Revenants, who are still holding this high ground position over them. They got to remember, right up close with them. Oh no, that's just the HP bar trying to recover as they keep sight lines on them right now in that shack. And Circle, when that next one pops, they're going to have a very telling moment because that's going to dictate who's going to have to make that rotation first or who's going into who has to concede the territory. And I feel like in an engagement where you have cover against terrain, it's whoever moves first might be in a lethal position.
Oh, Trid, we are going to have a pretty exciting landscape for the final few circles of game number 3. We are going to Prison. It is going to be fully implicated here. Prison, notoriously one of the harder areas on Erangel to work out of, especially if you find yourself choked inside of it. The hillsides just to the south present crazy lines of sight that could look down upon you like fish in a barrel. But Revenants, they've got to do something here on the hillside. They've got teams on their northern flank and teams on their eastern flank, and how are they going to be able to rotate out of here? Well, shoot to win, let up a little bit earlier and allow them that opportunity to make their rotation.
Revenants are stuck in between shoot to win and version 2 white right now. It's not looking good for them. Need to get out of this one without taking an engagement. Third parties are going to be strong in this next fight as the rest of the teams push into that circle. It's just these 3 outliers. Lopez going to grab a vehicle, go ahead fast as the rest of Shoot to Win load up to try and get into the circle as the rest of these 3 outlying teams have loaded up. They're going mobile and chasing each other into this circle. Look at this in the vision. Psycho, he can see the rest of Revenants. They're opening up with fire onto the back line, but no one's been dropped off those vehicles just yet. No one's gone down. You're incredibly vulnerable on this motorcycle, but somehow Shoot to Win, they're going to crash in here.
try and get up with the rest of the team. There's Revenants are opened up on by Tempo, who had that position. They were waiting for them. And there's the squad wipe. Revenants going out in 11th place.
10 teams remaining, 31 players alive as we pass the 20-minute mark of this game, and it is about to get crazy if it hasn't already gotten crazy. Because, listen, Trid, all of these teams are either going to be postured inside a prison or on these cliff sides. Tempo's Chica going to be moving up, able to spot out some of the members of VN1, and they're going to be spraying down. Bucky dropped down to about 75% HP as Chica tries to reset. They know that there are going to be other squad members there, so communicate with your teammates and then swarm around them.
As things stand right now, Tempo account for over a third of the kills that have already happened right now, and they're looking to add more to it. They're sitting on 11 as they're lighting up multiple members of VN1. Duke going to be the last one to go down there. No Bucky. Even on the back end there, Spec's going to find him with using that LMG. Version 2 Black, Sprat, Slev, they're taking some shots down. They've been dropped as Woz will also be fallen by Shoot to Win, who are also looking to get up on that kill count right now and build those numbers.
Yeah, Shoot to Win and Tempo Storm between the two squads have over 22 kills in combination. That's about a third of the lobby, a little bit over a third of the lobby just between those two squads. So a lot of points being taken up by very few teams here in game number 3. Tempo Storm, though, continues to frag out. It's going to be Envious as Knockhead getting knocked instead of doing what his name implies. As Tempo Storm looks back on these rocks, they're going to be trying to spot them up to the northeast. And will knocks they get, will they be able to find the flushes, though, and rack up even more kills to their names?
Creature's not in a position to go in for the res here, and Chica taking that angle, wants to finish him off. You can see Nico coming from the other end to try and force Creature into an unfavorable position, and now they can get the pincer on him, abuse this high ground, and shoot down onto him, and not have the angle. He was relying on his teammate to cover.
And it looks like they don't know the creature is there, but one member of Tempo Storm is starting to flank around that and clear the edge of the circle, and well, there it is. He's going to be spotted out. Nico finds himself another kill. Tempo Storm now at 15 kills to their name. They are trying to set records here on the first weekend of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
I'm not sure what the team record is now, but we know that the personal player kill record is 12 kills, currently handled by Aesor of Misfits Gaming. So I'm going to assume they're going to be the ones who are holding it. As Psycho getting some fire. Taken round by Are You Scared, who have really got control of prison. I feel like they've got one of the most favorable positions. The Psycho just going to be knocked, unable to deal with it, but he's got plenty of cover for Shoot to Win to work on this resuscitation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to call any area inside of prison favorable when the cliffs are still in play, but Method going to be crashing off of that western position into the warehouses just to the south of where Shoot to Win is currently holding out. They're separated by about 10 meters of distance, and well, they certainly heard it, and they're going to be holding on tight, getting the meds prepped, getting the boost up to full for the impending engagements.
If Method were a little bit faster and they had all the information available to them, they should have definitely taken an engagement with Shoot to Win. They had one member down, just been resuscitated with a fraction of his HP. It would have been perfect to take that favorable 4v3 and clear out a squad.
But this is interesting. Method is actually lobbing nades through the openings in the roof of the warehouse, trying to connect on the Shoot to Win. Not finding the connections, but certainly applying the pressure, which, as we know, can almost be as effective. Certainly you're not getting points for pressure, but sending teams back off on the defensive, allowing you to play more offensively. But here it comes. Return nades coming out from Lopez. Not going to be finding any connections just yet, but damage is slightly being applied to the members of Method.
Trying to find something else, an alternative angle to maybe go in against this Method squad. Just need to be conscious of all the other players in the area, because still a lot of members alive. We've still got VN1 in this game, with Key being that solo operator for them on the fringes of the circle. He's very close to Tempo right now. This might not be the play for him.
And look right now at this perspective, off in the distance on top of the hillside, it's going to be Team Anarchy, possibly in the best position you could be on the map. But Tempo Storm now taking fire on those eastern cliffs of prison from Team Anarchy. Spec going to be dropped down to about 30 HP, forced into the prone position to get those meds rolling. And now Tempo has to worry about this. They haven't faced off against any teams yet in this lobby where they didn't have the initial advantage of being the first to engage, but now in a different position as the blue zone starts to shrink in.
Key's going down very low here. He's been spotted out. I don't think he's going to be staying alive here, as Anarchy's just going to pick him off and end VN1's reign. They're going to go down in 7th place as everyone's hiding around in these factory buildings. Considering there's only 2 members on I'm Your Enemy, they control about the same territory as 2 squads right now, Esquire.
And here's the thing as well, the circle is shrinking now. Phase number 6 in full effect, and Tempo is caught out on the cliffside. The only way without diving into the blue to get down is to drop off the cliffs, and that might be a dangerous proposition. But Method now facing off against even more grenade pressure coming out from the members of Shoot to Win. They're now starting to swarm around the eastern side of the warehouse, trying to find their marks.
50-50 chance of going in through the wrong door, but they're moving fast. The smoke, get into the the pro. Want to have a nice firing line as they spray into Method. They're going to open it up again as Ulysses knocked down. First casualty of the fight. Not going to be cleared out yet. Ever Fury has been removed, so this is a 3v4 engagement as long as they can get Ulysses back into the fight. And they're playing around the smoke to make it happen. Not all the information is there to make sure they can get these kills. We're playing up nice and close here. We've got to shoot to win. Rafa going to be holding that corner, making sure no one can peek without safety. Senso taking out Nico in the back line. He's going to be answered by Chica. Tempo having that engagement on the other side of the compound as Pride rushes out of the warehouse trying to find a kill. James going to be knocked down. Tempo lost, being dropped as well. They're looking from this corner. Senso will be answered off for that Tempo enemy engagement. Reeking of casualties, but shoot to win. Not going to lose any of their owners to get Ulysses back into the fight.
And Are You Scared is currently in the police station. They are engaged on 2 different squads right now as Shoot to Win still tries to recover from this engagement. They have been at least messing with Method. They tried to smoke off that western side of the warehouse doors to try to get the concealment to cross over and advance their own position, but lost a lot in the process in terms of meds and utility. 6 teams remaining, 16 players alive. How will Tempo be able to rotate in here? They need to worry about Sad, the solo player from Team Enemy, lying in wait.
He's joined by another solo player, Killer, from Team Anarchy, also hiding around this area. And it's Are You Scared and Shoot to Win with the full-strength squad. It's Tempo operating with 3 men right now. Spec, he's got 8 kills. He's going to be the big player here to come in and pop off in the final moments of the game. They might be able to secure a win. But it's already going to be Mightdog taking out Steamy Method. Another casualty. The Spec tries to clear off those rooftop assailants. Circle moving closer and closer to completing that movement and then opening it up for phase 8.
So much information is being gained right now from Are You Scared as Shoot to Win is trying to do whatever they can. They're getting picked apart by Are You Scared right now and now drop down to just 2 members standing, 2 bleeding out. They've got to recover off of this, else be eliminated very quickly as Tempo moves in. They're taking fire now from Are You Scared. Are You Scared is not playing like it at all. They're asking these other teams, are you scared? Coming up towards our police station. Are you scared? Tempo Storm, though, able to make it into the first floor.
Chica, he must be scared right now. He's outside in the cold by himself, knocked on the ground. This Tempo want to get inside. They're playing for the victory as Chico will now be picked off by the rest of Are You Scared. Shoot to Win, off to the side. Pop in the energy drinks. They're going to have to storm this police building. It seems like the only area of safety they can be having. Tempo's on the ground storm. Are You Scared takes out Lopez on the outside. And Are You Scared now becomes the only full-strength squad left in the lobby.
And Nico and his teammate Spec going to be holding onto the stairwell, trying to watch outside the windows as other teams try to swarm onto this police station, trying to get up onto the walls, but Shoot to Win continues to take casualties in the process. Lopez going down as well. 4 teams remaining. Shoot to Win has been eliminated, and Tempo Storm is now going to be trying to do whatever they can. 3 teams now left as they pick up a kill on the solo player, Sad.
Spec is still, and it's a 2v2v4 right now. It's Are You Scared still at full strength. There is a path to victory for Tempo, and his name is Spec. 9 kills to his name. If he can stay alive, it might be the way, and his Mightdog will take out Pride. And Are You Scared are starting to lose members as Tempo. Spec finds another one. He's found Cal, and he's on the hunt. He wants to get the 3rd as well. Can he drop him down? Mightdog being destroyed by the rest of his. Nico will then clean up Cal. Tempo are taking this game away. 11 kills for Spec. Wants to beat the kill record, but Sai comes in, trying to clear him out. Nico's been dropped. Spec is the last man standing. He's going to be fighting against the blue as the spray comes in to try and deal with Sai. Moving outside of the building for safety. Spec in hot pursuit. Gets that knock. If he gets the kill, he's going to tie Acer for the kill record. He pops it round and takes out another member of Are You Scared. It is now a 2v1v1. Tintin is carrying, Spec is recovering, and Method are trying to find a way into this police building.
Are You Scared dominantly held this police station for an entirety of the late game, but quickly that table turned as Tempo made their way into the first floor and wiped out 3 of the members of Are You Scared. But Method still in a pretty good position to look out in third party any of the action that could erupt between the 2 solo players inside of police.
Could be very similar to what we saw on Vikendi, where that upstairs position that's being held by Are You Scared becomes their downfall. They may have to eject this building with the circle constantly shrinking, and they might end up in a situation where they're just fired down. But look at this, Method pushing Spec. He's going to be able to open this door and turns it around, and Pride's been dropped. G-Bay, now the last remaining member. This is a 3-man showdown.
And absolutely insane, too. Methods, G-Bay, as well as his teammate who just pushed and died, they have not been recovering any HP whatsoever. It's safe to say at this stage in the game, in phase number 9, the final collapse in game number 3, that they have no meds whatsoever. G-Bay essentially going to be giving up here. He is inside of the zone, popping out. No, it chunks too hard. He's not going to be able to make it spotted out. And that is going to be the play zone getting the kill. Spec not able to get it, but a true 1v1 scenario now between Are You Scared's Tintin and Tempo Storm Spec.
Spec knows that the only place that Tintin can go is through a window that's not going to be causing the blue zone. He's going to go through that left side, but he's holding the corner perfectly so you can see both angles. There's no way he can be caught off guard here as he pops the energy drink for what should be the final engagement. Tintin's looking through the window. It's not going to change the fact you're going to have to jump out of this one. There's no mattress to catch you. Expecting to hold down this angle. The circle's going to keep moving in closer, creeping up here as we're waiting for them to eject. As he moves into cover, he's going to drop out the window, try and find him, but now he's just giving away the territory. He hears the drop. Tintin's going to be sprayed down, and it's Spec to secure it all. Tempo taking first place with a new kill record being set.
Solo kill record, team kill record, Tempo Storm showed up to play, and boy, are they raining on every other team here in this lobby. As far as Erangel goes, Trid, what a game.
Fantastic play there by Tempo Storm. The two-man squad of Spec and Nico able to fight against the full strength of Are You Scared? That breach into the police station won them that game. Method had no answer to what was going to happen to them. Being caught on the outside, they wanted a piece of the police station. They were too late to get any cake. It had all been given away to the other guests. And as soon as Pride walks through that door, he's taken out immediately by Spec. And that was all she wrote. There was nothing. You had to watch G-Bay accept his fate and watch the blue zone come in and clean him up. Tempo Storm taking the first map of Erangel.
And that is going to be game 3 in the books. We're going to go to a brief break, and we'll be right back with an after-action report and take you into game number 4. welcome back everyone to the PUBG Mobile Club Open here for North America. My name is Esquire, joined here by Trid, and wow, Tempo Storm, did they show up to play on Erangel?
Able to pick themselves up a tasty little victory off the back of some fantastic fragging by Spec. And we didn't see many high kills from other members, but Lost, he is the IGL of this team. No doubt he had a substantial hand in getting Spec to the position where he could pop off.
Exactly. Normally on PUBG teams, everyone has a role, and not everyone is going to be the fragger. Sometimes you need the big brains to guide you through to those victories. But what a performance that we did see come out. Also, are you scared? 10 kills to their name. Certainly 12 kills behind Tempo Storm, but second place finish is not going to be too bad for them. That's going to be a nice whopping 22 placement points. Stack that with 10 kill points as well. And Will, you're not too shabby in terms of the leaderboards.
We're moving on to our final map of the evening. We're going to go back to Erangel once again and close out the show. Now that these teams have had their first attempt at the map in a live tournament environment, with, more importantly, with each other, we now get to see the adaptations coming in. Was there something that was a dire mistake from the off that can now be fixed, altered slightly to create a better situation? We saw a couple of hot drops, particularly around Milta.
Yeah, Milta did see two teams drop down in there. For Hokage as well as Tempo Storm are victors, obviously, from this game in a crazy fashion. Well, they wiped out For Hokage pretty quickly, and they weren't the aggressors in that. It was going to be Tempo Storm being pushed up by For Hokage from the western side of Milta, and real quickly thereafter, you saw Tempo Storm. Chica on the top roof of that building was able to call out the information so effectively to their teammates.
Was able to get themselves in the best possible position. Latinos Unidos having an okay performance, not massively impressive. Same with Ignite Gold. There's a couple of these middle of the pack teams that are starting to appear where they're not falling too far behind, but they're just not contesting the upper echelons. They might get themselves into relative safety. Like we said, it's only the bottom 8 teams that are going to be leaving us after the first 2 weeks as we enter our semi-finals. And version 2 black, version 2 white. This is a collision between what we can consider sister teams at this point. That hasn't really happened. They're not really clashing with each other. We've not seen any engagements really happen between the two. I think out of the two teams we're seeing, though, most typically it's version 2 white that's coming out in a more favorable position, but we can confirm that at the end of the show, potentially, if we can have a look at those standings.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If there are any two teams in this tournament of 32 teams for North America that know each other very well and those strategies of each other very well, it's going to be those two sister teams by virtue of them likely knowing one another, practicing one another, and being under the same org. But I want to talk about a team in particular, Trid, and that is going to be Method. They've showed up today and played very consistently in terms of their placement, but also consistently in terms of a low kill count. They're not picking up those massive kill points that we see teams traditionally, at least in the PUBG Mobile tournament so far, pick up. And you have to say, at least in these group stages, sure, those placements might be enough, but when you get into the semifinals, you are going to need to be a little bit more combative and pick up those kill points.
With the way the placement and points distribution happens, of course, the placement definitely is more favored than the kills. Kills are great. They can boost your score massively. But if you get that first place finish, that's 30 points. And if you look at how many points a kill gives you, it's just 1 per kill. It wouldn't surprise me in Method, if given the option between the two, would go for placement. We're about to jump into our final map of the evening. Erangel is the location. And this time, Method, let's get some kills on the board. Let's get some placement and hopefully get yourself into a position where you can start challenging the upper echelons, not only of Group C and D, but also your opponents in A and B.
And I mean, that's the exciting thing about this. After this final match of day number 2 is played out, every team from Groups A, B, C, and D will have played their matches, and those strategies are at least going to be on display, the VOD review being done, and then we'll see the ultimate clash between another 2 groups tomorrow.
Set that up for Sunday, but now it's time to get into the action. All 64 of our players are on this plane to close out the evening. It's map number 4, Erangel, on your screens.
And we are going to be soaring off here. It looks like we're coming from the northern part of Erangel down to the south, favored over towards the western side as we cruise over North Georgia Pole, Everest Mountain, Watertown, and head down towards Sosnovka Island. Players already starting to depart, though, from the cargo hold.
Starting to drop down out. If we can just have a look at the map, we can get the exact path for you. See where some of these teams are looking to drop. It's a western-leaning flight path, but all the same, it's heading north to south. Like you already mentioned, the squad team has already taken that departure. Some still remaining in the craft, wanting to get themselves out there. In fact, 6 squads still in that vehicle, and it's more less and less as teams continue to drop as the plane heads towards military base.
And will we see teams try to stretch over towards Milta again? I think it's unlikely given what happened to For Hokage in game number 1 of Erangel, game number 3 of the evening. But already seeing some shifts. We have our team Ignite Gold going over towards Zarki, a far polarized area of the Erangel map, all the way up there to the far northwest. And well, For Hokage has departed off of that Milta strategy. They're going to be dropping now on the northern side of Erangel in Severny, and well, quite a different scenario this time around. They're all alone, not going to have to worry about going out in 16th position.
Thankfully, that will be not a problem for them this time around. Ignite Gold, Zaki, completely enabled by that difference in flight path. Or more likely, it was disabled from the first flight path we saw. Just not a viable drop coming in there. They have to travel for it, but look at this. You got yourselves, Are You Scared? Just taking over control of military islands. They're starting to descend towards it. They're being joined by Home Alone. I was going to say Hello Alone, but it's Home Alone. Also dropping on that military island. Are You Scared? Heading straight for that UAZ and going to find themselves something more favorable to loot.
Certainly, and there are a limited number of cars on Sosnovka Island, so certainly any being taken away by Are You Scared could be a factor in any other teams down there on the island. As a player comes sliding by in the Dacia, says hello to his fellow teammates and the UAZ. But I want to talk about this circle, Trid. We see a similar circle. Looks like our first knock actually coming out on the Tempo Storm's Chica. Not going to be a kill confirmed, and there it is with a pistol. You got to hate to see it for Tempo Storm. They're going to be worried about this.
It's a disastrous start for Tempo Storm. All the momentum from that previous map just completely lost by losing a member that early. It looks like they're around the farm area. It was actually version 2 white with that engagement, and get the knock and the kill confirmed was being the first frag of this matchup as he just removes them from the field. And now Tempo are in disarray.
It looked like Tempo Storm was trying to get back over to that Milta spot. When Chica went down, Lost was already in the vehicle making the rotation. We'll see, though, if they end up continuing to go east, like Nico seems to be on the path over to their, I guess, famed city. It's their city after winning it from For Hokage in game number 3. But this circle, Trid, we might see it going back to prison. You know, certainly phase 1, it sets the landscape on a large scale. But we're going to see some shrinks. Whether they hard shift, we'll have to wait and see.
Creature just hiding in these floors in Georgia Pol as it looks like the rest of Revenants are swarming him around. He's got teammates in the same building with him on that upper floor, hoping that they just check the wrong room, and there's not going to be loot waiting behind the doors. It's going to be lead instead.
Yeah, it's certainly not the kind of lead that's on the ground for you to pick up either. It's going to be slinging from a barrel into your chest if you happen to open it up. Creature's still lying in wait, though. They hear the footsteps. They know that there is another team in this South Georgia Pol spot. It's going to be Revenants, though, looting up the apartments. They also have a member in the back 6 going to be trying to get some loot here. The high loot population areas, at least on this map, in this town, are going to be in that back 6. Very efficient to loot. The apartments, too many doors, not as efficient.
They're in the building over, so they're not in the same building just yet. Look at this position Knockhead's taking. He's just on the ledge. So he's going to be able to poke through the window. They surely can't be expecting that if they were to enter the room in which that window covers, and now they're sharing the building. Creatures still in there. They're both going to depart. They've been spotted out by Espinoza. So the line of sight going to lay down some fire as they take cover behind the wall and look for an opportunity to return as they're trying to disengage from this. They know they're outnumbered. They can't fight this one. As Creature's going down. Knock coming in from Peralta. Take cover behind the RV. And Knockhead just going to leave him. He can't go in and defend, and they accept the loss. And that's another one going down for Envy, who are now down to 2 members. Revenants, they smell blood in the water. The mollies come out. Espinoza's in hot pursuit.
I mean, exactly right. They've gotten the flush onto 2 of the members of this squad and will keep on pushing. Envious is at a massive disadvantage. Knockhead going to be going down. 1 more member left alive. It's going to be Reckless over near Water Tower Hill in this South Georgia Pol spot. He's hiding behind the shack. He's able to get some cover for the meantime, but Revenants know exactly where this threat is lying in wait, and that's going to be Espinoza pushing up. The third-person perspective is going to be had. Reckless able to spot him out, wraps around the backside of the shack and is not able to evade the shots any further. Gets taken down and out, and that's going to be your first team eliminated in the final match of the day, Envious.
Without even getting a kill to their name. Another 0-point game. You hate to see it, Esquire, but someone will always fall victim to it. There's the kills coming on the board for Revenant. Their game has started off fantastically.
Yeah, that's exactly how they want to start it. They've had some interesting games so far today. The start of the day, game number 1, they picked up a nice 13-kill second place. Maybe trying to recreate that, trying to come back and get what they didn't get in game number 1. Will that chicken dinner?
The rest of Shoot to Win, they're just south of Yasnaya, I believe, as they're just trying to find some loot, get some for themselves. Now let's have a look at what's available so far for Martin. He's got himself some bandages and an energy drink, but he's not going to be able to have anything else there. He's sitting with the Vector on his back. He needs to find something more, otherwise it might not be the best situation for him and the rest of his teammates to be in.
Yeah, certainly could be a little bit dire for Rafa and the rest of Shoot to Win, as Lopez is low HP and will certainly not a lot of utility on their backs. But we have to continue to think, though, 15 teams remaining, 58 players alive, still in the early stages of this game. If Shoot to Win picks up some kills along the way, or maybe even finds a nice compound in their rotation, they could probably find some more loot that could be very beneficial for them in the mid-game.
VM1 making the rotation into that new area. Same can be said about Home Alone. Just south of Pachinki as well, they'll find their route of ingress into the circle. As Are You Scared have complete control over this military island. No one else is contesting them. They're still in the circle. We're able to get some loot, but look at this engagement. Alushi running straight into enemy. That's a 4-man squad. Able to just take him out solo. Is sad. Will get dropped as well. Look who's around the corner. He can only hide for so long. It's going to be King GD taken out as well. Nice reactions from G6 to take them out, get alive, and recover everything without losing a single man.
Very solid play. Not going to be able to depart in that buggy, but they still have their Dacia and all 4 members of their squad alive, as Yayo has been rezzed, and he's picking up a nice loot infusion as well. But the rest of enemy continues on that rotation towards the eastern side of the map, trying to center up with only 2 players remaining. Again, the strategy has to shift. Senso and Gucci are going to have to play this much differently than they had originally planned when they dropped onto the map a few minutes ago.
And this could be driving across to the east and avoiding version 2 white as they head over to the eastern coast. They're maybe going to pass through prison on their path towards the center of the circle. But in the blue right now, we got Revenant still tanking out as they're south of Georgia Pole. Method of making their way into the map, into the circle, outside of the blue. Ignite Gold maybe passing a pass for Hokage as they try to enter the circle as well, coming in from the northwest of Yasnaya.
Looking at the map as well, seems that Tempo has made their way over to the far east, even further northeast than Milta, opting not to go there, opting not to take that loot infusion, but rather go for position here as the blue zone starts to close in on phase number 1. Are You Scared? They're going to be looting up. Not going to be looking too shabby down there in Novo, but they do have to worry about that cross around the bridge to get to the northern side of Erangel should our circle most likely go that direction.
Method still on the outside. They're making their way, and VN1 taking a few shots at Home Alone right now. So Are You Scared get control of these Dacias and start transporting themselves off the island, because they're going to have to start looking at that one. The circle will definitely be moving further to the north, and you're going to have to cross that bridge, and you might want to do it before someone takes control of that choke. Latinos Unidos are in the area, but they're more concerned with Milta right now, and you've got Tempo up to the north of them. No one's really moved into a position south of Farm where they can contest them on that transitional bridge.
Phase 2 has popped. These teams have about 1 minute and 30 seconds until they have to worry about the blue zone on their backs. And, well, Latinos Unidos is going to be sitting pretty in Milta, almost dead center, but other teams up to the north, specifically Method for Hobagage, as well as Shoot to Win and Ignite. Going to have to at least make those transitions, and, well, they're not going to be easy. A lot of teams congested up there towards the north.
Very few channels for you to go down if you want to stick to the roads. Is Chico going to be finding his way back in. Chico and Chica have been causing us some confusion throughout the day from Nico, but he's been removed from the field, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. As version 2 Black getting inside the US and sticking with a couple of members as they move a little bit to the southeast, I believe. But you got G6 coming in quite close to them right now as they get themselves into the circle. And they might be running past enemy who have taken this position near prison. It's Gucci and the boys still trying to stay alive in this one as Home Alone got themselves into the island now, heading towards Milta. as Are You Scared are starting to work their way towards that bridge.
Yeah, two of the members of Home Alone a little bit ahead of Bunny and Plan B right now. They're going to be trying to secure the compound and then calling Bunny and Plan B in to provide that support. But the shots are coming out. Latinos Unidos, they're going to be, well, panning each other right now. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, Trid.
It's a bit of a meme.
They're just having
hitting
fun.
Each other. Yeah, they may as well. They're not under pressure, right?
Exactly. Hit each other with the pan, have a little bit of fun. It's not going to be a big deal.
I was slightly concerned that we may have had friendly fire active, and they were actually actively damaging each other.
No, we wouldn't be panning each other in that scenario, right? Tempo Storm, though, going to be departing their yellow building. Spec and crew up here near the lumber yard. One of the, I guess, more difficult areas to play around should the circle end up there. We don't know if it's going to at this stage in the game. Phase 2 still fairly large, some water in play in the channel, but Tempo is going to be departing. Nico and Spec trying to get into the compound, stopping at the Harry Potter, going to be getting a grasp of their surroundings.
Going to get themselves in there. They've still got 2 vehicles to play around with, holding that position to the southeast, and they're playing the almost gatekeeper right now to version 2 Black, who are going to be going further east towards Mill to Power. The same can be said about Enemy as well as Shoot to Win, as they're all heading and converging on that same location. Spec getting in the UAS, relocating himself to something that's slightly easier to control. These 2 buildings right now, more cover and a little bit more to play with, shall we say.
Certainly, but here is Shoot to Win. They're going to be crossing paths with 2 different teams. Enemy is Gucci in rotation, as well as for Hokage, trying to make their own rotation up the hill towards Lumber Mill. But it looks like everyone is going to be safely able to maneuver that terrain. But here it is, Team Anarchy spotting out Revenants in that rotation. Going to be popping off James with the M416, trying to find the connections onto the UAS, but it's a little bit too fast and his shots trailing a little bit too far behind.
They did try and get some assistance there from the rest of that squad. Team Anarchy trying to find some damage on here as Jamon from G6 taking shots at Enemy, who have become suddenly stationary when they had that mobility. They're off to the side. It's a bit of distance between G6 and Enemy, so they have time to play with. And of course they can rely on the lesser accuracy, but still in the firing lines of a team that has been successful at racking up these kills so far.
And here's the thing, Enemy's position is locked down on the cliffs. If they have to disengage, if they need to disengage, well, it's wide open terrain right in the lines of sight of G6. It's going to all come down to what can I'm Your Enemy do here. What can they pull out? Do they have smokes? Do they have utility to try to create that concealment to effectively disengage without losing too much in the process? They're going to be utilizing this coast, utilizing the defilade to wrap around the northwestern side and hopefully get to safety.
Not had to pop any of that utility to get it done. They're just going to keep running and getting themselves to safety as they try and head further to the north and get themselves into a better position. They're going to be running straight into Ignite Gold if they're not careful here. Now let's go back to Revenants, who are holding down this position. Method, G-Bay under fire, so that's exactly who they're fighting now as they're spraying into those buildings. And he's got the prone, he's got the walls to help himself. Pride's watching his back. It's Steamy to knock down Espinoza, so that's the first casualty of this fight. But it's not the first death. They're going to need to get him some assistance to keep him alive in this game.
G-Bay lining up the shots through the window, trying to spot out Tanker, just waiting for the peak to come out. As soon as the head shows itself, well, there is a bullet with Tanker's name on it should G-Bay have the aim. He's going to be popping shots at the door, trying to destroy it. It is going to be destroyed, and a new line of sight opens up into the yellows, where Revenants are currently holding out, but Vigilante's going to be pushing up. He's at the guard tower on the roadside, trying to get more information as to where Method is popping off and if any flanks are coming out.
G6, Yamon, riding dirty as they're heading towards the compound. They're stopping just shy of just going around the outside, but it's really alerting the rest of Revenants. Now it's Tobimara being knocked down. He needs to stay in this game, and he's getting the reinforcements coming in from the rest of 4 Hokage to keep him up, as it's version 2 Black contesting them. Revo from Latinos Unidos taking off Espinoza and the rest of Revenants. They came in from behind. That is absolutely lethal for Revenants, who have now been successfully removed from the map. Apart from Vigilante, who's going to be in there trying to resuscitate the rest of his team. He's the last man standing. Where was the angle of attack coming in there from Latinos Unidos? They need to be mindful of that one as they're opening up the more frags. Jamon, now the center of attention. They've now got some respite because G6 have taken the attention of this squad that was paying them so much attention before.
G6, a team that's had a good performance so far today, losing a lot in the process. Espinoza was able to be rezzed, but Tanker continues to bleed out. Vigilante, though, starting to line up the smoke utility to conceal concealment to approach this yellow building that Tanker is currently knocked inside of. He's got the concealment. He's trying to get as far into the corner as possible to evade the shots being rained down on top of this building by the oncoming Method squad. He's sticking the res, likely will be able to get it onto Tanker, and if so, that's going to be an incredibly impactful recovery for Revenants.
What a turnaround for him to get them back into the game. He took a shot as well when Espinosa was trying to go there and get that teammate back up, but unfortunately, still going to be kept in this game as Jakob just hiding behind this box right now. We got ourselves G6. They're trying to get the frags, and they got the blue zone pushing in. The next circle may force the hand of lots, and that's a big transition coming in for a lot of the teams who've been fighting in this southeast section of the map. They have to set further up towards shelter in that northwest portion.
Trid, just go ahead and call me the Circle Whisperer, because at the onset of this game, I did say it would be interesting if we went to shelter. And if we see one team stacked below shelter, one team stacked above, you might see a med-off. Certainly an exciting point in these PUBG Mobile games. We'll see if we get to that, but still have 15 teams alive. It's going to be extremely chaotic as we approach the 20-minute mark. Latinos Unidos is going to be departing this Milta area with 3 kills to their name and all 4 players alive, but they have to be careful because shots are ringing out all over.
A couple of players want to get ahead of the curve and get into prison in case it falls into that situation again. Version 2 Blacker fighting against enemy, and Tsukasa already been knocked down. I saw Spec getting knocked, but I didn't see the kill confirm come in, so I believe he's still in it with Nico right now. Maybe able to pull off a little bit of tempo trickery at the end as well, get themselves back in. As we see Latinos Unidos taking that large rotation around the edge of the blue to the east, and they're going to come into 4 Hokage. Right, dangerously. Oh no! Version 2 Black! They run straight into the path of death! Such an easy pickup for Ignite Gold to go as they try and force his way into the circle along that path of the road. Sprat has to leave his comrade behind. He can't go back for the res, and now he's going to have to play for placement and be the insurance policy.
You hate to see it. Teams stacked into these vehicles become very easy targets for spray, especially shoot to win. All 4 inside of this vehicle as they roll around shelter, but they're going to be departing. They blocked off the entrance as well with the US. A nice move for them to at least make here, creating a very difficult entryway for any other teams that want to funnel down inside of the shelter area. But Psycho repositions the vehicle as he takes fire from the impending squads coming down from that north or southern position rather. Are You Scared going to be looking at them, and certainly they are going to be looking back. Psycho maybe spotting out 1010 and the rest of the crew, posturing on another entry point to the shelter.
Ignite Gold picked up a couple of kills for themselves while that action was going on. And Psycho, like you said, holding the sidelines, the vehicles behind them providing cover and reducing the amount of offensive angles that can be taken against them. They got their eyes on Are You Scared? I think that's the team they're most acknowledging right now, but you got Team Enemy in that north side, about to clash with Version 2 Black, who are also quite weakened at the same time. This 2v2 conflict could erupt in the northern part of this circle.
Well, as we see it also on the map, you can slightly see it. Spec did not go down. He was rezzed, and Tempo Storm is moving into the eastern entry point of Shelter as well. So all entries to Shelter have been controlled, and any other team that tries to crash in on top of this, especially if the next phase shrinks even closer to the central point of Shelter, well, it is going to be a bloodbath, especially given the fact that we have 13 teams still alive. But look at the eastern side of things. So many teams posturing next to each other. We saw Are You Scared? They drove their vehicle all the way down into Shelter. They are fully committing to this play, and they're not going to be giving up any area down below.
You got to remember what Nico and Spec achieved when they had to breach and clear the prison building in that compound, and how successful they were at doing that. They could probably do the same in Shelter if they play in the exact same capacity. Breach and clear the Shelter, take control of it. A couple more knocks happening on the outer fringes of the circle. It's Ignite Gold finding a couple more kills. Enemy Gucci even getting on the lines, but Are You Scared just keeping this Dacia alive? They're trying to block off the tunnel routes for these teams to try and come up behind them. Make sure they only have to focus on one path.
And it's a smart play to make. The Dacia was smoking. It's now been fully disabled, exploded by the hands of Are You Scared, creating an ultimate obstacle for any other team moving in. But Shoot to Win continues to ring out the shots. My Dog blocking off another entry point of this Shelter area. Are You Scared is getting a dominant hold on the centralized point of the zone, especially with phase number 5 popping now, and Shelter absolutely being implicated. The only 3 teams inside of the zone are the 3 teams that dove down into the center and controlled those areas immediately. Tempo Storm, Are You Scared, as well as Shoot to Win.
VM1 trying to recover up on this high ground. Duke taking a lot of attention. They have to throw out the smokes here. Utility being burned just to get this resurrection off safely. Going to be popping, and then Drake has to cancel, though. Too much attention, has to move away from the grenade. It secures the kill onto Duke, and another grenade comes in again, and will knock down Key. It's only leaving one member for VN1. It's Lucas still in the game, but they know exactly where he is. He gets in a vehicle. I don't think he can save Duke here. I don't think he might have to become a solo operator as the spray comes in through the smoke.
I mean, listen, Trit, smokes might give you concealment, but they also give a nice bullseye for frag grenades as the battle pops off here. Revenant's Vigilante going to be knocked as they try to combat against Team Anarchy, pushing up from the southern position. The spray coming out, Tanker exploding the vehicle, putting out damage on the Micro TT, but not able to find the knock. One player left for Team Anarchy, and the nades are being prepped and ready. If cooked perfectly, it will be landing right up on top of the member of Team Anarchy, but it doesn't find its mark. Damage being applied as Micro TT has about 5 HP to work with.
We're going to have Micro TT trying to stay up, and it's going to be getting him in a position where he can heal up as well. And he's got himself only his teammate 9 left alive. We've already lost James and Killer with the squad, so they're working at half capacity right now. Thankfully, Micro TT was successful in getting his health back, but he's got a lot of enemies swarming the area. He's got version 2 White just to his western side, as well as looking at getting Revenants involved in this fight. Still, Espinoza, we're on board with him right now. He's sitting in smoke, but we just know which angle it's going to come from. As Are You Scared looks to disable this vehicle. Espinoza with the headshot onto Maluma. He's already cleared out one member of version 2 White, as Tanker will finally be executed by his teammate.
You can see just how crowded the eastern side of this circle has become on the mini-map. So many different teams posturing themselves, just trying to make these rotations safely. A few meters here, a few meters there, and then stop until you have to move again. Take the battles that you need to take as Shoot to Win starts to light up the kill feed. Able to find some nice knocks onto version 2 White. Will they be able to find any more, or will this battle sort of stay at a standstill as the blue zone starts to shrink in? Phase number 6 is going to be popping in a matter of about 5 seconds, and it's going to be ever telling as to where the final landscape of game number 4 of the day will pop off.
Mega just moving around in the air. Sights, he's quite exposed right now, so he's going to be throwing down a smoke, give himself something to hide behind, and the good tempo. Spec and Nico holding down the fort deep into the tunnels. They're taking a big gamble here. I don't think they're in a position. They're going to have to move into this next circle. And when they emerge, they could be walking straight into the firing line.
We did see a bit of a hardship down to the southwest of our previous circle's central point. And yes, the shelter teams are going to have to depart what was a safe haven for them. It's now going to be a bit of a battlefield. Look how many teams have to make that trek from east to west. And well, teams are going to be dropping like flies left and right.
Shoot to Win. They're just doing this so proactively. They had the vehicle alive. They didn't expend it to block off a route. They used it for cover instead, and now they've immediately repositioned into that circle, and they've got out safely. What should have been a death trap for them has now become their advantage.
Well, speaking about being in a death trap, Hashirama now has to make his way out of shelter, and Are You Scared's 1010 is popping off shots. He has no clue that a member of Team Anarchy is down below, but will they be able to come up and play a bit of a spoiling role on a team that still has 3 up, and not coming out on the side? He's going to be bleeding out, not able to pick up the res just yet as Method rains hellfire from the south.
And enemies found Nico. Spec also going to go down as well, so that's Tempo Storm not going to be able to reach the echelons of success they had on their first attempt of Erangel today. My dog just opening up onto Steamy right now. Method trying to move along this hill line, using the smoke for cover as Micro TT will find Steamy from another angle. So Are You Scared can just let the foot off the gas and then put it on more physically as they get into the Darcy and drive around. Micro TT securing that kill onto Steamy.
Micro TT, a solo player, still trying to do whatever they can to safely pick up points, and that's the way to do it. But here comes the other members of Method. Jibe, the solo player, trying to pop as many smokes as possible. His helmet's already broken. His vest is halfway there. The war of attrition is not being won by Jibe, but he's still alive, and that's a lot more than at least 9 teams in this lobby can say at this stage in the game. Blue zone, though, shrinking in just past the 50% mark of that reduction here in the game.
Lopez starting to open it up onto Are You Scared. Cow will be dropped down by Psycho. So Lopez and the rest of Shoot to Win have control of this hut. Rafa is going to be knocked. Still saying this one though. Cow probably having the res come in from Tintin to keep him in the game. They've already lost side. They don't want to lose any more if they want to contest this first place finish. That's the difference between first and second. Those 8 points. Look at that care package. Perfectly placed in the middle of the circle. No one's got to be ballsy enough to go for that one, Esquire.
No, but here's the deal. If you make it up to that crate, it's not only going to give you some items inside, but it also is going to present a new bit of cover that's not always there on the map. It's not static cover whatsoever, and well, a player might find some use out of it. but Shoot to Win's Martin going to be spotting out Are You Scared's 10-10 up on the hillside. 10-10 and Are You Scared certainly know the difference between second place and first place.
Look at your flanks, boy. Martin finds him quite clearly from the long distance. Tintin down, wants to go for the headshot, won't find it. Martin, 50% HP, will take the time to get the bandage up, but he's put the fear of God into Senso, cleaned him up. Now you got Mega still on the high ground, and he's going to be able to abuse this fact as we move into the next stage of this game.
So with Tempo Storm out, we still have Are You Scared up and alive. They got second place in our third game of the night, the first game of Erangel. They are trying to say, at least for this lobby, for Group C and D, we are the consistent kings of this Erangel map, but they are not there yet. 4 teams still alive, 3 stand in their way from being able to say that. As Shoot to Win pushes up, Lopez on the hillside now trying to creep up. Crouch position, keeping that head low so we can advance as far as possible into the circle.
So Tintin and My Dog taking cover behind the trees. It looks like Shoot to Win are going to go up onto this hill, try and clear out Mega, and then move down afterwards. But they're moving, keeping an eye on everything that's going on. Tintin, using the third person, gets that information, feeds to Might Dog. They know what's going to happen, go into prone, try and stay hidden, and wait for an engagement to happen with their intended target as Lopez begins to sneak up on Mega in the prone position.
So this is what Are You Scared has to do in this situation. When they hear the shots pop off by Shoot to Win, they have to be aggressive. They have to be proactive in coming up and trying to third party it. If they continue to let Shoot to Win wrap around this zone and clear it out, well, they're going to be facing off against a 4v2 scenario as Lopez continues to snake his way up, trying to spot out any more snakes that might be in the grass in terms of version 2 white or Micro.
Look at this, Micro TT throws a grenade straight at Tintin. He's come behind. Are You Scared? Knocks him to 50% HP. He needs to use that health pack, but I'm not sure he knows where this is coming from. As he opens up on the Lopez, will get the knock, tries to go for the kill confirm and will receive it, but Tintin's now been knocked himself. I don't think he's sure what's going on, because now from the same direction, he's been knocked down by enemies of Shoot to Win, and Micro TT just clears out Tintin and Might Dog on the rotation. So now it's a 3v1v1. Mega still holding that high ground. Micro TT is definitely the hidden member of this team, as Rafa going to be knocked by Mega. So now they're putting them Shoot to Win on the back foot again, as Psycho will clean that up. Needs to get the res on Rafa and turn this into a 3v1, but with the high ground advantage, he's definitely going to spot out Micro TT.
Didn't spot him out right there. Micro peeked up and was able to certainly see Psycho, but now Psycho knows exactly where the final threat left in the lobby is to secure that chicken dinner, and they are going to be swarming, wrapping down the hill. Micro trying to position behind this tree cover, so he has some type of concealment, some type of hard cover to work behind, but it's not going to be enough. The flashbangs come out, and here comes the push as Psycho preps the grenade. He knows exactly where Micro TT is. Will he be able to land the mark? It's cooked. It's going to be landing right behind Micro, not doing the intended damage, but they continue on, dropping down rain.
But here's the thing, Esquire, they don't need to rush him. They have control of where the next circle is going to be. If they want to play this with absolute safety, they don't have to do anything. They hold the high ground. When Micro TT pushes to get out of the blue, he walks straight into the firing line. He's going to med up. They're popping smokes. They may go for the rush here and just contest him, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Here comes Rafa and Psycho. They move behind the rocks, try to change that angle. They're going to open it up and clear out Micro TT. A 3v1. You can't expect much more for the lad to do this, but he will secure Team Anarchy that second place right behind Shoot to Win's second first place finish of the night.
Nice play by Shoot to Win right there to smoke off that tree, smoke off the lines of sight by Micro TT, and then swarm on top of him. Not going to be denied any kill points there by Micro. He says, let's get those points. Shoot to Win, a huge first place finish. But what a day, Trid. What a day. Day 2 is in the books. Every group here in these lobbies has played. And look at the schedule. Day 1 and Day 2 in the books. You can see who won every game. And we'll put Shoot to Win there for match number 8.
Cleaning up the last attempt at Erangel. They're going to have 2 wins to their name. G6 get on the board with Miramar. Tempo Storm. Fantastic performance to close out the first attempt of Erangel we saw tonight. So we're starting to see the names crop to the top of these groups and start checking out paths for them. As we just take a reminder before we finish off our analysis of this, we've got groups A and C coming up tomorrow as well. So you're going to see how the top dogs potentially of the Day 1 matches and Day 2 matches fare on Day 3. Some of the highlights so far of today, I'm going to say and give it over to just Specs' reign of terror in the prison. got to
Yep.
be the highlight of the tournament so far.
Yeah, that was outstanding. Certainly the highlight of the tournament, the record kill count of the tournament. But also, I got to give it up to Shoot to Win. The bookend finishes of the day. The first round win to start it off, and then, well, coming over to Erangel to end the day. Trying to race Misfits for that consistency. They picked up 2 wins on the day, just shy of that 3-win victory we saw for Misfits yesterday.
Let's try and have a look at our schedule for tomorrow. We've got Group A versus C, and there's 2 teams that I'm excited to see throw it down. Misfits Gaming and Tempo Storm. Group A versus Group C. Definitely going to be one to keep an eye on. But also, guys, tomorrow we're going to bring you the first instance of Sanhok in the rotation. So we're going to get to see what that condensed, aggressive map is going to bear for our teams to face on tomorrow.
And here's the thing. You hear us talking about Misfits so much today and their performance yesterday. If you weren't with us for that and you want to see the matches that were played out yesterday, today, or in the future over the next few weeks, make sure to head on over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com, where you can find scoreboards, you can find VODs, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel. You don't want to miss any of the content we're going to be putting out over the year.
Thanks so much for joining myself and Esquire. I've been Trid, in case you didn't figure that one out already. We're going to close off tonight, but we'll be right back at the same time, 8 p.m. Pacific, for more PUBG Mobile Club Open action.